Your shoulders climb toward your ears before you even notice. The to-do list swims, your breath sits high in your chest, the phone's glow prickles your eyes like static. You rehearse 5 outcomes at once and believe every one. A tiny itch of doubt becomes a drum, your jaw tightens, time shrinks to a thimble. You keep moving but nothing moves. You refresh, you reread, you second guess. You try to think your way out and the spiral tightens. Sound familiar? Here's the promise. In the next hour, you'll learn a simple, science-backed way to return to calm on command. No pep talk, no mystical charm, just a few repeatable moves that teach your brain confidence you can feel in your body and use in your day. First, a map. Your nervous system is an alarm that loves you so much it sometimes overdoes it. When stress hits, blood is pulled toward the amygdala, the brain's smoke detector, and away from your prefrontal cortex, the part that plans, prioritizes, and speaks wisely. That's why you can know what to do at noon and forget it at 5 when the inbox flares. Our job isn't to bulldoze the alarm, it's to signal safety so the smart brain comes back online. You'll do that with 2 tools you can use anywhere, the 4-4-6 breath and the Calm Advantage loop. The breath resets your body, the loop reprograms your attention filter, the reticular activating system, so you see useful options instead of threats. Together, they become daily confidence, not just emergency relief. Let's start with physiology because it's the quickest win. The 4-4-6 breath is simple. Inhale through your nose for 4, hold for 4, exhale slowly through your mouth for 6. The long exhale stimulates your vagus nerve and tips your system toward parasympathetic calm. Try 1 round now. Inhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, feel your ribs widen, then melt. Notice the slight cooling at the back of your throat on the exhale. Don't force calm, let it land like a feather. 3 rounds tell your body, we are safe. 5 rounds say, we are in charge. You might be tempted to rush to mindset, but confidence that lasts is built body first. Think of this as ballast in a storm. If you build mindset without ballast, your ideas topple. With ballast, even big waves pass under you. So right now, tune to your senses. Feel the weight of your hips on the chair or the firmness of your feet against the floor. Notice the temperature on your forearms. Hear the farthest sound in the room. Don't narrate, witness. You are not your stream of thoughts. You are the room they pass through. Here's a story to make it real. In a cramped conference room humming with bad fluorescent lights, Dev, a product manager, watched a launch timeline slip by 2 weeks. He felt heat lick up his neck and heard his old story start to speak. They'll think I'm sloppy. He opened his mouth to defend, then remembered the 4-4-6. He let his lips close and breathed, eyes on a neutral corner of the table. 30 seconds later, he asked a single question. What's the one constraint, if removed, moves the whole schedule? The vendor admitted a hidden bottleneck. The team reallocated 1 engineer for 48 hours, and the project landed 5 days early. Dev didn't become a new person in 30 seconds. He became himself without the static. Breath first, then ask for the lever. Now the second tool, the Calm Advantage loop. It has 4 moves: pause, name, point, act, and you'll practice them in order until they become reflex. Pause is 1 breath, 2 if needed. Name is accurate, not dramatic. I'm having the thought I'm behind, or my chest is tight, I'm feeling urgency. Point is where you direct your RAS, the brain's spotlight, what's useful and controllable in the next 60 seconds. Act is the smallest wise move available now. 1 email, 1 sentence, 1 boundary. Loop back as needed. This builds a rhythm where each cycle teaches your nervous system that challenges are solvable. Do it 10 times today and your baseline confidence ticks upward. Do it for 10 days and it becomes your new normal. Let's run the loop together. Pause, 1 round of 4-4-6. Name, say quietly, tight chest, racing mind, urge to rush. Point, ask, what's useful and controllable right now? Let an answer surface. Maybe it's list the top 3 blocks, or send a clarifying message. Act, do the smallest piece, 30 words, not 3 paragraphs. Feel what changes. The brain learns from action plus relief. We're wiring in the lesson. When I act on what I can control, my body eases and results improve. This isn't about never feeling stress. It's about building a reliable bridge from stress to steadiness. The science matters only because it gives you leverage. Your amygdala calms not when you lecture it, but when you demonstrate safety with breath and small, wise moves. Your RAS tunes like a radio to the station you choose. If you point it toward problems, it finds them. If you point it toward levers, it spots handles everywhere. Confidence is not a personality. It's a practiced direction of attention. Check your body again. Notice the slope of your shoulders. Drop your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Let your hands loosen. Imagine your ribcage as a bellows, filling evenly front and back. Feel the chair hold you. Take one slow inhale and make the exhale a half-second longer than you think you need. If a thought tries to shove you forward, greet it like weather on the window. You are the room, not the rain. A quick micro drill you can use between meetings, the 60-second reset. Stand if you can. Soften your gaze, do 2 cycles of 4-4-6. Whisper, name it to tame it, then label the top sensation or thought. Ask the point question. Then perform a 1-breath action, write a subject line, schedule a 5-minute huddle, or if necessary, type, quick check, what does success look like by Friday, and hit send. The goal is not to finish the project in a minute, it's to prove to your body you can steer. Steering is confidence in motion. Another story closer to home. Late evening, kitchen light warm on the counter, Ari looked down at a text from their partner. We need to talk about the trip. A wave of dread rose. Last time talk meant change plans, spend more, try harder. Ari felt their chest hollow. The old script jumped in, I'm failing again. But Ari had been practicing the loop. They paused, hands on the cool edge of the sink, and breathed. Named it, dread, pressure to fix. Pointed, what's useful and controllable here? Acted, texted back, happy to talk. What feels most important to you about the trip? The conversation that followed wasn't perfect, but it was clear. They discovered the real issue was the unknowns about childcare, not the trip itself. One small question, born from calm, kept love in the room. You might wonder, can it really be this simple? Simple doesn't mean shallow, it means executable under pressure. Firefighters practice clipping buckles until it's muscle memory because in a real blaze, complexity gets people hurt. Your mind under stress is its own blaze. We're installing 2 buckles, breath and loop. You will forget sometimes. Good. Forgetting is the cue to begin again, and beginning again is how pathways thicken. That's neuroplasticity in your favor. Right now, let's rehearse with precision. Set your posture so your spine feels long without strain. Imagine a small string at the crown of your head gently lifting. Relax the muscles around your eyes. Breathing 4-4-6, add a tiny smile, not to fake happiness, but to soften jaw tension. After 3 rounds, whisper your name line. Keep it factual. Then guide your RAS with the point line. Wait for a concrete answer that fits in a single sentence. Then take the smallest wise act. If nothing is available, your act can be to step outside for 90 seconds and feel fresh air on your cheeks. You're teaching the system, I can create space. When hesitation whispers that you should prepare more before you act, use the 1-question lever. What is the next visible inch? Not the mile, the inch. The brain loves closure. An inch finished closes a feedback loop and releases a little dopamine, enough to energize the next inch. Inch by inch, you become the person who moves without rushing, who is steady without being slow, who is kind without being soft on standards. Check the sensory field again. Is there a spot in your back that wants to widen? Let your shoulders slide slightly back and down, as if tucking your shoulder blades into deep pockets. Notice the scent in the room, coffee, paper, shampoo, nothing. The present is where confidence lives because it's where actions land. Every time you return here, you take authority from stories that predict doom and give it to choices that create direction. I want to name something tender. Calm can feel like surrender when you're used to powering through. But this calm isn't passive, it's precision. It's the difference between flailing and swimming, between spraying a hose wildly and placing water at the base of the flame. When you breathe and loop, you don't lose your edge, you sharpen it. You don't ignore stakes, you see them clearly and pick the lever that moves them. Here's your first day plan, woven into life as it already is. The moment you wake, before the screen, sit up and do 3 rounds of 4-4-6. Whisper, today I point my attention where it helps. At your first stress spike, run the loop once even if you're in motion. At lunch, run it again and celebrate the smallest act you took because of it. In the evening, replay one moment you shifted from alarm to agency and feel it in your body. These touches are stitches. Stitches make fabric. Fabric is what you can wear tomorrow when the weather turns. And here's the identity turn that matters most. You are not a collection of reactions strung together by luck. You are the awareness that notices, the breath that steadies, the choice that returns. You are the one who places attention like a craftsman lays a line of gold leaf, thin, deliberate, transforming the surface without shouting. Confidence isn't loud. It's the quiet, repeatable act of pointing the mind toward what you can move and then moving it. One more sensory beat before we close. Feel the coolness of air at the tip of your nose as you inhale, the warmth as you exhale. Sense the outline of your body in space, like a gentle glow an inch beyond your skin. Let your gaze soften and widen, taking in the whole room at once. In that wider window, see one small next step you'll take within the hour. Nod to it. Let your jaw loosen. There, the calm advantage is no longer an idea. It's a habit forming in your hands. Confidence grows fastest when you learn to create calm not only in pauses, but while moving. Think of today as training your moving stillness, the way a seasoned cyclist stays balanced even as the road tilts. You started with the 4-4-6 breath and the calm advantage loop. Now you'll layer 2 complementary protocols, the 90-second weather rule and the anchor and angle method. One teaches you to let emotional weather pass without gripping the storm. The other gives you a physical anchor and a cognitive angle so you can steer in real time. Together, they turn spikes into signals and signals into strategy. Here's the 90-second weather rule. Emotions, when not constantly fueled by your thoughts, surge and ebb like waves across about 90 seconds. That's neurochemistry at work. A cocktail of stress hormones rises and clears if you don't keep stirring the cup with catastrophic narration. Your job in those 90 seconds is not to fix life. It's to witness sensations, breathe, and refuse to feed the loop. Picture standing at a window, rain streaking the glass. You don't yell at the weather or schedule a meeting with the clouds. You watch, you breathe, you keep your hands off the thermostat. Practically, it sounds like this. For the next 90 seconds, I will feel this as sensation and let the wave move through. Set your internal timer by counting exhales, about 10 to 12 long exhalations. When the wave subsides, your prefrontal cortex has room again. Now you can use the calm advantage loop to choose your next wise inch. Try a mini practice now. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. Feel where the emotion sits, maybe a heat under the collarbone, a buzz behind the eyes, a squeezing in the gut. Name the sensation plainly, warm, tight, buzzing. Begin your 4-4-6. With each exhale, silently repeat, weather moves. Count those exhalations until you reach 10. Notice how the edges of the sensation blur or shift. This isn't magic, it's metabolism. When the 90 seconds pass, ask your point question and choose the smallest action. If a new wave arrives, that's okay. Surfers don't curse the ocean for having more than one wave. They learn to ride in series. Let's add anchor and angle. Anchor is physical, one reliable cue you can touch or feel anywhere. Angle is cognitive, one consistent question that tilts you toward agency. Choose an anchor you can carry, thumb to forefinger press, palm to sternum, or the cool rim of your water bottle at the lip. Choose an angle that cuts through drama. What is the next visible inch? Or what supports my future self by Friday? When a trigger hits, you engage the anchor for 3 breaths. Then you ask the angle, and you act. The combination tells your nervous system a story it can trust. I ground, I aim, I move. Here's how it works on the street. Picture Tessa, a nurse on the evening shift, pager barking, hallway lights cold and hard. A family is worried, a doctor is delayed, and her own stomach is empty. She feels the familiar clamp around her ribs. Old Tessa would rush and rack up mistakes, then stay late fixing them. New Tessa touches her anchor, a light press of thumb and forefinger at her side, hidden and steady. She counts 2 silent breaths, then asks her angle, "What supports my future self by Friday?" The answer surfaces, delegate vitals to Ben, page Dr. Rao with a single-line update, eat 2 bites of the protein bar in her pocket. 60 seconds later, she's moving, not sprinting. The family sees calm eyes and hears a simple sentence. The night still has edges, Tessa has handles. Check your own body. Let your lower jaw unhinge slightly. Lift the back of your skull as if balancing a light book. Scan your chest, front, sides, back. If there's a rigid patch, imagine warm water running over it. Bring thumb to forefinger and feel the skin's texture, the subtle pulse. Choose your angle now, whisper it. Let its shape land on the inside of your ribs. This is you building a switch you can flip in traffic, in a meeting, in your kitchen at 9:43 p.m. The brain science under the hood is simple and friendly. Your amygdala flags novelty and threat. Your prefrontal cortex plans and speaks. Your insula maps internal sensations. When you anchor the body, you send an all stations bulletin that reduces noise from the amygdala. When you hold the angle question, you engage prefrontal planning without flooding it. Repeating the pattern wires a shortcut. Stimulus right arrow, anchor right arrow, angle right arrow, act. Dozens of reps turn it into a reflex. This is not positive thinking, it's architectural thinking. You're laying beams that hold under weight. Now a story from the realm of relationships where weather rolls in fast. Jamal and Lena are packing for a weekend trip. Jamal folds shirts with military precision, Lena rolls hers loosely. A tiny snag becomes a tug-of-war about doing it right, powered by old histories neither of them called for. Voices elevate, eyes narrow. Jamal feels heat rise in his face like a slow boil. He catches it. Anchor, palm to sternum, 3 breaths. Angle, what keeps love in the room? The answer, drop volume first, then ask a curious question. He lowers his tone and says, "What's the part of packing that makes you feel most at ease?" Lena blinks, the weather shifts. "When the toiletries are handled, I can relax." Jamal takes that inch and handles it. 10 minutes later, the bag is zipped, and they're laughing about how 2 ways of folding can both lead to the same cabin by the lake. Jamal didn't win, they both did, because calm won. There will be days when the 90 seconds feel like 9 hours and the anchor slips. That's your cue to scale down further with the micro-yes method, a sub-tool of angle. A micro-yes is the smallest agreement your body can keep right now without strain. 1 deep breath with a slow exhale, 1 line typed and sent, 1 sip of water, 1 step outside. String 3 micro-yeses and momentum returns. Confidence grows when your promises match your nervous system's capacity. You are not lowering standards. You're building staircase steps your legs can climb today. Between these practices, you'll meet the voice of urgency that masquerades as importance. Your reticular activating system is trained by repetition. If you repeatedly feed it alarms, it will happily find more. Retrain it by tagging small wins out loud. Each time you complete a micro-yes, close the loop with a sentence, "That's me steering." It takes 2 seconds, and it stamps your memory with a true pattern. Over time, your RAS learns to notice levers and inches faster than threats, which feels like walking into the same life with more light. Let's craft your personal anchor and angle set. Pick your anchor now. Maybe it's the press of your thumb and middle finger at the base of your pocket, the knuckles resting on your thighs, or the smooth curve of your mug handle. Try each for a breath or 2 and sense which one gives a felt drop in your shoulders. That's your anchor. For angle, audition 3 questions and choose the one that opens your chest a millimeter. What is the next visible inch? What keeps respect intact? What will matter next week? Write your angle on a sticky note and place it where your eye naturally lands, corner of your screen, the back of your phone, the inside cover of your notebook. Every glance is a rep. Here's a short drill to install the 90-second weather rule in muscle memory. Set a timer for 3 minutes. In the first 90 seconds, recall a mild stressor. Don't choose a trauma, choose a traffic jam or curt email. Stand or sit tall. Let the sensations rise without commentary. Breathe 4-4-6 and repeat. Weather moves. In the second 90 seconds, run the calm advantage loop once with your chosen angle, then take a micro-yes action, a draft subject line, a calendar note, a single sentence clarified. End by tagging the win, "That's me steering." Do this daily for a week. Watch how the gap between stimulus and choice widens. You may notice resistance here, a part of you that equates calm with losing the edge that made you successful. Keep that part close, it's trying to protect you. Offer it data. Athletes don't perform in clenched fists. Musicians don't play their best while holding their breath. Calm doesn't dull your blade. It stops you from soaring through the cutting board. Confidence is a quiet channel you can return to again and again until it becomes the default you trust. Drop into the body again. Feel the fabric against your shoulders. Notice the weight of your tongue resting softly. Let your exhale travel down your spine like a sliding bead. If you're holding your breath while reading, release it now slowly. Sense the outline of your feet inside your shoes or on the floor. Widen your peripheral vision. See the whole room at once. That widened visual field is a backdoor to calm. It tells the midbrain we're not cornered. Keep that wideness as you read the next lines. Feel how your chest changes shape. Now let's pressure test the tools with a workday scene. You're 5 minutes from presenting. The deck is good but not perfect. Your teammate just texted a last-minute worry. Whether surges, heat, tightness, buzzing, you remember the rule, 90 seconds. You stand near the doorframe, anchor with thumb to forefinger, breathe 4-4-6. You tell yourself, weather moves. You watch the wave, not the story. At the 90-second mark, you angle the question, what's the next visible inch? The answer is simple, close slack. Open the deck full screen, write the opening sentence on a sticky and walk in. You do that, 2 slides in, someone interrupts. Old you would defend, calm you asks, what's most important to you to leave this room with? Their answer gives you the lever. The meeting ends not perfect but effective, and your body learns. This is how we do stress, anchored, angled, acting. A note on repair, because you're human and you will blow it. Let's say you snapped at a colleague. The weather rule would have helped, but it didn't happen. Use a rapid repair, a cousin to micro-yes. 3 steps, acknowledge, anchor, act. Acknowledge, I raised my voice, that wasn't helpful. Anchor, 2-4-4-6 breaths with your thumb and forefinger press. Act, a specific, present tense offering. I'm going to restate my point in 1 sentence, or I'm going to step out for 60 seconds and return with a clearer ask. Repair doesn't erase the moment, it converts it into trust. Confidence isn't never erring, it's recovering with grace and speed. Let the identity shift land again. You are not the storm in your chest or the script in your head. You are the awareness that notices the weather, the hands that touch anchor, the mind that chooses an angle, the body that moves an inch. Each rep declares who you are, a calm operator in a loud world, a builder of quiet systems that work when it counts. This is not about becoming someone else. It's about unlearning the habit of leaving yourself when pressure rises. One last sensory beat before we close. Bring your attention to the smallest sensation you can detect, maybe the coolness around your nostrils, the whisper of fabric at your wrist, the way air touches the back of your throat. Stay with it for 2 breaths. Then widen to the largest sensation, the whole field of your body's presence in the room. Feel the difference between the two, the zoom lens and the wide angle. You can shift between them at will. That's control. That's choice. That's calm practiced into confidence. In the next session, you'll build a sanctuary space in your day, a mental room you can enter in 6 seconds, and you'll learn the 2-point calibration to keep your standards high without self-attack. Until then, carry your anchor, ask your angle, ride your weather. Inch by inch, you're becoming the person who brings steady air wherever you go. Calm becomes durable when it has a place to live. Today you'll build that place, a mental room you can enter in 6 seconds, and you'll learn how to keep your standards high without turning that room into a courtroom. Think of this as architecture for your nervous system. Walls that soften noise, windows that widen your view, a door you can find even in the dark. The tools are the 6-second sanctuary and the 2-point calibration. One gives you a felt sense of refuge you can access anywhere. The other separates excellence from self-attack, so your drive becomes quiet power instead of a whip. Picture the sanctuary first. It is not fantasy, it's a repeated sensory script that your body learns to trust. 6 seconds is enough because safety is recognized faster than it's argued. The protocol is simple: door, breath, name, see. Door is a physical cue you can touch, the edge of a table, a pen, the seam of your jeans. Breath is 1 round of 4-4-6, slow and steady. Name is a quiet label of your current state, as factual as weather, tight chest, buzzing jaw, impatient mind. See is a micro-visualization of your sanctuary room, a space the size of an elevator car but open like a chapel, a soft light, a chair that fits your spine. When you run door, breath, name, see 3 times a day for a week, your insula maps that room and your amygdala learns the message. We know our way home. The room becomes a place you can step into on a subway, in a Zoom lobby, in your kitchen between the pan and the plate. Try it now. Find your door, fingertips on the cool rim of your cup or the smooth edge of your phone. Feel the texture, the temperature. Breathe in through your nose for 4, hold for 4, and let your exhale stretch to 6. Name your current weather with 1 friendly phrase. Then see the room. Notice the quality of light there, perhaps afternoon gold spilling across a wooden floor. Imagine a chair that meets you like a handshake. In this room, you are not late, you are not early. You are exactly on time, because time moves differently in sanctuary. It widens. Repeat the sequence once more. Sense how your ribs loosen a fraction, how the muscles around your eyes soften. This is you laying carpet your feet will recognize under stress. Your brain likes consistent entrances, so add a threshold cue to anchor the room in daily life. Every time you touch a literal doorframe, run 1 cycle. Every time you sit down before a call, touch the keyboard corner, door, then breath, then name, then see. This is how musicians warm up and pilots run checklists. Ritual tells the mind, we are in the right place, doing the right thing. The reticular activating system starts to filter for handles instead of hazards when it recognizes the room. And because you already know the calm advantage loop, you can tack it on after see, pause and ask, in this room, what's the next visible inch? Your answer will be clean. You may wonder whether imagination can really change physiology. It can, when it is grounded in sensation. Athletes rehearse lines and movements to prime motor circuits. Therapists guide patients to safe place imagery to reduce sympathetic arousal. When your sanctuary has a tactile door and a breath that moves the diaphragm, the imagery isn't abstract. It is a pattern of inputs that rebalances blood flow toward prefrontal regions. You're not escaping life. You're returning to the command center that lets you steer life. Here's a story from the morning rush. Nadia, a project lead and parent of 2, used to start her day in a sprint. One Tuesday, toast burning, backpack zipper stuck, Slack already pinging, she felt the familiar clamp in her chest. Her son asked, "Where are my shoes?" And her mouth formed a sharp answer before her mind caught up. She touched the pantry door frame. There's the door, 1446. Tight chest, racing mind, she named. She saw her room, a sunlit corner with a low armchair and a map on the wall. What's the next visible inch from this room? The answer came like a short line of sheet music. Turn off the stove, kneel to eye level, and speak 1 sentence to her son. She did. We'll solve it together, check under the couch. 30 seconds later, the shoes were found. She sent 1 clean message to her team, joining in 5, deck is in drive. The day still asked a lot. Nadia entered it from the room, not the hallway of panic. Check your body as you read. Notice the weight of your forearms on your thighs or desk. Feel the fabric against your shoulder blades. Let your lower belly soften by one notch. Inhale, sense the cool at your nostrils. Exhale, feel a hint of warmth. Let your gaze widen enough to see the edges of the room without moving your head. This wide gaze is part of the room's window. It tells subcortical circuits you're not cornered. From here, every inch is easier. Now to the craft of standards without self-attack. High performers often confuse precision with pressure. The engine is good, the fuel is corrosive. Enter the two-point calibration, a pocket instrument you'll use before, during, and after important moments. The 2 points are standard and tone. Standard is the measurable aim, clear, specific, observable. Tone is the manner of pursuit, respectful, patient, self-trusting. You set the standard like a coordinate. You set the tone like the weather you choose to travel in. Before you begin, you say both out loud. Standard, 2 crisp pages by 5 p.m. Tone, calm, curious, generous with myself. During you check both. Are my sentences moving toward the standard? Is my tone still the one I chose? After, you score them separately and learn, because excellence grows fastest when you can see which dial to turn. Run a calibration right now with something that matters this week. See it in front of you: presentation, conversation, workout, boundary. Define the standard in one sentence. Then choose a tone that would make you proud even if the outcome wobbled. Speak both softly. Feel how choosing tone shifts your posture. Standards aim the arrow. Tone keeps your hands steady on the bow. A story from a conference hallway might help. Matteo, a designer, was prepping to pitch a redesign to a skeptical client. His past habit was to inflate the standard into perfection and bully himself with tone. He tried the 2-point calibration. Standard, demonstrate 3 user pain points and 1 elegant solution per point within 15 minutes. Tone, calm, invitational, listening forward. He wrote it on the inside of his notebook. During the meeting, he felt a familiar heat when a client pushed back. He glanced at the words, touched his notebook edge for door, took 1 quiet breath, and asked, "Would it help if I show the friction from the user's thumb perspective?" The room leaned in. Afterward, he scored himself. Standard 8-10, timing needed work. Tone 9-10, he stayed invitational. The next week, the client signed. More important, Matteo had a repeatable way to be excellent without eroding his own flaws. The science here is behavioral and human. Your nervous system associates effort with the emotional climate you create. If the climate is contempt, you'll start to avoid effort or overcompensate and burn out. If the climate is steady and respectful, you'll show up more often and refine with less friction. The amygdala quiets faster in respectful tone. The prefrontal cortex holds working memory longer. The RAS notices useful cues because it isn't jammed with self-criticism. Tone is not soft, it's surgical. Precision landed with care goes deeper. Install 2-point calibration with a tiny drill at the edges of your day. When you open your laptop in the morning, whisper your standard and tone for the first block. When you close it at night, score both quickly and name 1 inch you'll adjust tomorrow. If you forget, repair and go again. Forgetting is not failure, it's the door where practice lives. Take another sensory check. Lift your shoulders an inch, then let them drop. Place your tongue lightly against the back of your upper teeth to relax your jaw. Notice the temperature of air on the back of your hands. Feel your feet heavy and broad, as if roots spread through the floorboards. Inhale and imagine the air widening your back ribs. Exhale and imagine the chair receiving more of your weight. This is the posture of the sanctuary. It makes your voice rounder and your decisions cleaner. Let's stitch sanctuary and calibration into a single sequence, a ritual you can run in under a minute before any high-stakes moment. Touch door 1446. Name your weather, see your room, speak your standard and tone. Ask the calm advantage loop's angle question, what's the next visible inch? Take that inch. Then go. This is the sequence actors use with a different vocabulary, surgeons with gloved hands, teachers with chalk-dusted sleeves. Ritual converts scattered energy into aimed energy. Confidence is what aimed energy feels like from the inside. Not every sanctuary is silent. For some, the sound of a fan or the hum of a cafe helps. If your mind floods during quiet, add a gentle auditory anchor to the room, a wordless loop at low volume, the rhythm of your own steps, the metronome tick of a ceiling vent. Consistency is king. The brain learns environments by repeatable inputs. Choose a soundtrack and let it become part of the doorway. Here's a personal scene to underline repair when standards are misused. You promised yourself an early bedtime and slipped instead into doom scroll territory. Midnight arrives with sandpaper eyes and a mutt of self-blame. In the old pattern, you would prosecute yourself, call it discipline, and wake up brittle. In the new pattern, you step into sanctuary at the edge of your bed, door, fingers on the wooden frame. Breath, 1 round. Name, tired, buzzy, a little ashamed. See, your chair, your light. Then 2-point calibration for sleep. Standard, lights out in 2 minutes, phone outside the room. Tone, tender, matter of fact. You act, phone to the kitchen, glass of water, back to bed, hand on your chest, 2 slow exhalations. You tag the win, that's me steering. Not perfect, human, and tomorrow, easier. A word about ambition. The point of the room is not to erase hunger. It's to change what your hunger costs you. When you pursue from panic, you pay in health, relationships, creative range. When you pursue from sanctuary with a calibrated tone, you pay with deliberate effort and get dividends, clarity, trust, repeatability. This is not about becoming less. It's about becoming exact. Right now, return to your room. Door, breath, name, see. Let your eyes rest on a neutral object, a window latch, a corner of the carpet, and hold it in a soft focus for 2 breaths. Whisper your standard and tone for the next hour. Notice the micro shift in temperature at your nostrils, the way your shoulders inch down, the slight unclench in your hands. Sense the floor supporting you. From here, picture yourself walking into a conversation you've been avoiding. See your hand find the doorframe. Feel the breath. Hear your tone. Watch the first sentence leave your mouth like a clean thread finding the needle's eye. The scene doesn't need perfection to end well. It needs your presence, and presence is what the room is made of. An identity turn, gently explicit. You are not the judge banging the gavel in your head. You are the architect who designed a room where wise choices gather. You are the craftsperson who calibrates standard and tone and trusts the work to unfold. When you forget, the door is close, your hand knows it. You step in and begin again. Confidence stops being a mood, it becomes a place you live. One last sensory beat to seal the lesson. Feel the outline of your body as if it glows a soft inch beyond your skin. Sense the rise and fall of your breath not just in your chest, but at your back and sides. Find the quietest sound in your space and let it be a friend, not a distraction. Let your exhale be a half-second longer than you expect. In that long exhale, you make a promise. I will practice entering the room and traveling with a chosen tone. That promise is simple enough to keep and strong enough to change the way your days feel from the inside out. Your mind is a master storyteller, and under stress it pitches the scariest version first. Today, you'll learn to hear the story without hiring it. Confidence grows when you can separate what's actually happening from what your brain predicts will happen. 2 tools make this separation clean and fast: the signal story split and the 3-perspective reframe. One sorts raw data from drama in under 30 seconds. The other widens your options so your attention filter starts catching handles instead of hooks. Use them together and you'll feel that surprising quiet where choice lives. Begin with the signal story split. A signal is a fact or a body sensation. The email bounced, the calendar moved, your chest is tight, your palms are damp. A story is the meaning-making your brain throws on top. This proves I'm failing, they're losing respect, I'm about to blow it. Signals deserve action, stories deserve curiosity. The split sounds like this. Signal, heart racing, 2 missed calls from Sam. Story, I'm about to be blamed. You say it out loud or on paper. You add one sentence, keep the signal, test the story. That last line is the lever. It puts your prefrontal cortex back in the cockpit and tells the amygdala kindly that it's a draft, not a verdict. Try the split right now on something small. Think of a fresh snag, a terse message, a delay, a sigh from someone you love. Close your eyes for a breath and feel where it lives in your body. Warmth in the face, pressure at the sternum, buzzing around the temples. Speak the signal exactly, then name the story in the gentlest possible words. Notice the temperature change inside your chest when you separate them. That softening is blood returning to the thinking brain. You are not denying the problem. You're upgrading the language of your internal radio from sirens to sentences you can answer. Drop into your senses for a moment. Feel the coolness at your nostrils as air enters. Hear the faintest sound in your space, the hum of a vent, the distant city, the wing beat of a thought arriving. Let your shoulders descend half an inch. Make the next exhale a half second longer than habit. Confidence has a sound, and often it sounds like an exhale. Now pair the split with the three-perspective reframe. Your mind tends to lock onto one angle, usually the harshest. The reframe invites three plausible views: a negative plausible angle, a neutral plausible angle, and a positive plausible angle. The negative plausible honors the risk without catastrophizing. We might miss the deadline by 2 days. The neutral plausible keeps facts front and center. There's a bottleneck. We need one decision. The positive plausible reveals opportunity. This forces us to simplify. Users will thank us. You don't have to choose the rosiest perspective. You choose the most useful one for the next inch. This trains the reticular activating system to scan for paths, not just pitfalls. Here's a scene that shows both tools at work. Aria runs a small studio, and a potential partner has been quiet for 9 days after a promising call. On the 10th morning, Aria opens her inbox and sees a calendar cancellation with no note. Her stomach drops and the old film starts. They ghosted. We blew it. Money's about to get tight. She catches herself and whispers, split. Signal, cancellation without explanation, pressure in the gut, shallow breathing. Story, rejection, collapse, shame. She keeps the signal and tests the story. Then she runs the three-perspective reframe. Negative plausible, they chose someone else. Neutral plausible, their timeline shifted, their calendar is a mess. Positive plausible, they're reorganizing and will need twice the scope next month. She asks, which angle helps the next inch? The neutral wins. From her sanctuary chair, she touches the desk edge for door, takes 1446 breath, and writes a 12-word note. Saw your cancellation, happy to reschedule. What outcome matters most for you? 20 minutes later, the partner replies with an apology and a new window. The project lands 2 weeks later at the original budget. The win isn't luck. It's the space created by saying, signal here, story there, and choosing the angle that keeps a hand on the wheel. Return to your body as if it were a compass. Feel the back of your ribs expand on the next inhale. Let your jaw unhook a little. Touch thumb to forefinger and notice the slight pulse under the pad of your finger. Your sanctuary is one breath away because you've rehearsed it. The room has a door you can find even with eyes closed. If your critic tries to hijack the reframe with fake positivity, give it structure. Pair the reframe with the sentence swap. I'm having the thought that 3 words at the front of any harsh sentence turn concrete into clay. I'm having the thought that I ruined it is different from I ruined it. Clay can be reshaped. Concrete just sits heavy. Neuroscience translators will tell you this move reduces cognitive fusion, the sticky feeling that thoughts and facts are the same. In your day, it translates to less whiplash between moods and more continuity of competence. Practice the tools inside a 2-minute drill called Map and Move. Map the mind for 60 seconds, move the body for 60 seconds. Set a timer if you like. In the first minute, write the split and the 3 perspectives in plain words. Signal, story, negative plausible, neutral plausible, Positive plausible. Keep each line under a sentence. In the second minute, take a physical action that favors your chosen angle. Stand and fill a glass of water while drafting a single sentence. Pace as you call for a missing piece of info. Stretch your back while you choose the first slide to cut. Movement signals safety. Words shape attention. The pairing writes memory. When I sort story from signal and pick an angle, I act. Imagine another day, another arena. You're driving home and a text lands from your sister. Can we talk later? Your stomach tightens. The story leaps to an old script. She's upset. You did something wrong. You split. Signal, simple question, tension in belly, breath high. Story, conflict incoming, you're at fault. 3 perspectives. Negative plausible, she needs help and will be prickly. Neutral plausible, she wants to coordinate plans. Positive plausible, she has good news. You choose neutral, you reply, yes. What window works? Anything specific on your mind? Later on the call, it turns out she wants to celebrate a work win and check dates. You saved yourself 3 hours of pre-worry and arrived to her joy with a steady voice. Feel the chair receive more of your weight. Let your feet grow heavier. Notice the texture of the surface under your palm if your hand is resting. If you're standing, feel the ball of each foot and the way the floor keeps its promise to hold you. Signal, sto rai. The hyphen is the doorway, you keep walking through it. Let's address the subtle fear. If I stop catastrophizing, will I miss real danger? No, the split keeps your eyes on the road. The 3-perspective reframe teaches range, not denial. Your nervous system actually gets better at spotting true threats when you don't paint every shadow as a monster. The amygdala is like a smoke detector that's been set too sensitive. Burn 1 piece of toast, and it cries wolf all morning. Your practices are like a recalibration. Now it alerts you for fires, not steam. You retain your edge and lose the unnecessary flinch. A micro-practice called shadow gratitude can deepen the reframe without syrup. When a snag hits, name 1 gift hidden in the shadow of the problem. Your deck broke at slide 8, and you discovered which 2 slides were fluff. Your partner's hesitation forced a clearer ask. Your cold morning run made the shower feel like a medal. This is not spiritual bypass, it is precision attention. The RAS learns to tag value, and tagging value builds quiet confidence. Here's a workplace vignette with tighter stakes. Damon is minutes from a quarterly review. A colleague drops a comment. The ops numbers looked interesting. Damon feels heat flood his chest and hears the quick, sharp story. I'm about to get blindsided. He steps into sanctuary with the door of his sleeve seam, breathes once and runs the split. Signal, vague comment, heat in chest, meeting in 5. Story, ambush, humiliation, 3 angles. Negative plausible, a metric is off and will be challenged. Neutral plausible, someone misread a column. Positive plausible, a chance to show his clarity under pressure. He chooses neutral for the next inch and prepares a simple sentence. Can we pull up the raw figure and the time frame? In the meeting, ops is fine. The interesting was a mislabel on a graph. Because he arrived in the room from the split, Damon spends 0 energy defending a ghost. That energy becomes poise. His boss sees it. Over quarters, poise compounds into trust. Check back in with your senses. Soften your gaze until you can see the whole wall ahead of you as a single shape. Feel the temperature of your hands and the air moving over the skin between your knuckles. Let your shoulders lift 1 centimeter, then drop. People often think confidence is a thought. It's a posture you return to until your thoughts line up behind it. To install these tools deeply, attach them to your day's natural anchors. Each time you open a new app, whisper a split. Each time you pour a drink, do a 3-angle check. Attach them to thresholds, car door, meeting link, bedroom light switch. Repetition is not boring, it's benevolent. You're teaching your brain to live in a friendlier house. On days when stories roar, add the 90-second weather rule to the front of the split. Feel the wave pass, then write the lines. Some days the negative plausible is actually the wisest perspective because it nudges a necessary boundary. Wisdom is flexible. Your identity isn't tied to the angle you choose, it is tied to the chooser. You are the one who selects the lens and then acts with care. Here's a tender personal moment where the split protects connection. You text someone you're dating and see the read receipt without a reply. The old story tightens its grip. You're being ignored, you went too far, you always do this. You pause and touch the edge of your pocket for door, breathe once and feel your ribs widen. Signal, read receipt, no words yet, tingling in the chest. Story, rejection brewing, three perspectives bloom. Negative, plausible, they're pulling away. Neutral, plausible, they're in a meeting. Positive, plausible, they're crafting a thoughtful response. You choose neutral because it preserves dignity and patience. You put your phone face down and take a micro-yes walk to the end of the block, naming 5 blue things you pass to widen your window. 10 minutes later, a warm message lands. Even if it hadn't, you stayed with yourself. That's confidence, the decision to remain on your own side while you wait. Let the identity turn be explicit. You are not the first draft your fear writes. You are the editor who keeps the signal and tests the story, the director who chooses the angle that serves the scene, the craftsperson who moves the plot one clean inch at a time. When you forget, you begin again with a breath and a sentence. Beginning again is not back at zero. It's the next layer of strength poured over what you've already laid. One more sensory seal before we close. Feel the outline of your lips and the slight cool where air touches them. Sense the space above your shoulders as if the air there had weight and was gently pressing you down into your chair in a comforting way. Listen for the farthest sound, then the nearest sound, the tiny click in your throat as you swallow, the whisper of fabric. In that sandwich of far and near, place a single line you will use today. Signal here, story there. Let your jaw loosen around it. See your hand write 3 angles on a scrap of paper. Watch yourself choose, not rush. There, the storyteller is still welcome, it just doesn't drive. Confidence wobbles when your attention is spent on everything except what you value. Today you'll install 2 systems that protect your focus like a bodyguard without making you brittle. The attention budget ledger and the boundary bridge. The ledger helps you spend attention on purpose, instead of leaking it to pings and people-pleasing. The bridge turns a no into a path forward, so your relationships strengthen even as you guard your bandwidth. Underneath both is simple brain science. Your prefrontal cortex has limited fuel per cycle, and your dopamine system pays out tiny coins whenever you finish a meaningful step. When you budget your attention and cross a sturdy bridge instead of a brittle fence, those coins add up to daily confidence you can feel. Start by noticing the texture of your current attention. Where does it pool? Where does it thin? Feel your breath for a moment, the cool in through your nose, the warmer air leaving. Let your shoulders drop a notch. Scan your jaw and loosen it. Attention is not just mental, it's physical posture. If you carry your mind like a dozen grocery bags, your hands shake before you reach the door. We're going to put some of those bags down and choose the 2 that matter for the next hour. The attention budget ledger has 3 moves you'll practice until they hum. Budget, batch, buffer. Budget means you set a small, explicit allotment for your top 2 priorities and for maintenance tasks. Batch means you group similar tasks to reduce context switching, which protects working memory and keeps glucose flowing to the prefrontal cortex. Buffer means you leave white space around blocks, so your nervous system doesn't sprint a marathon at the pace of a 100-yard dash. The ledger is written on a single page and spoken out loud, so the reticular activating system hears where to aim the spotlight. Try the ledger right now. Whisper your next hour like a bank statement. Budget, 30 minutes on the proposal summary, 15 on the client reply, 10 on stretch and water, 5 floating. Batch by deciding the order, proposal first, then replies. Buffer by giving yourself 1 minute between blocks to stand, breathe 4-4-6, and look at something far away to reset your visual system. That's it. If the hour breezes by and you hit only 80%, you still banked coins. Confidence grows when you can predict your steps and then watch yourself take them. Here's the neuroscience made simple. Each context switch, email to doc to chat to doc, costs you a toll in time and fuel. Your brain needs a handful of seconds to reload the mental file and remind itself what good looks like in the new lane. The ledger reduces toll booths. It also spreads your dopamine evenly instead of spiking it with novelty. Finishing a batch of similar, meaningful steps releases small, steady rewards that teach your system this is good living. The opposite, jumping from alert to alert, yanks your reward circuitry like a slot machine and leaves you jangly. We are not anti-dopamine, we are pro-stability. Drop into your senses again. Feel the weight of your thighs on the chair, the pressure points near your sit bones. Notice the sounds farthest away, traffic, a fan, a bird, and then the nearest, maybe the brush of fabric at your wrist. Widen your gaze so you see the whole wall as one shape. That wideness tells your midbrain you aren't cornered. From here, budgeting is not a chore, it's a kindness. Now to the boundary bridge. Boundaries are not brick walls, they're bridges that carry both you and the relationship over the river of conflicting needs. The protocol has 3 planks: name, know, next. You name the value or constraint kindly and concretely. You offer a clean no without apology inflation. You propose a next that preserves momentum, an alternative time, a smaller scope, a different person, or a clear criterion for yes. Name no next takes 20 seconds and changes the way your nervous system experiences requests, from threat to design problem. When your amygdala hears design, it quiets. When your prefrontal hears next, it engages. Let's see both systems in a clean, real scene. Priya is a team lead at a growing startup. It's Thursday, 4:10 p.m. Her ledger says budget, 30 minutes to finalize the hiring rubric, then 20 on the roadmap note with a 5-minute buffer. Her CEO pings, "Can you jump on a call now about a potential partnership?" The old pattern: say yes, scramble, feel resentful, miss the rubric window, and spend the evening catching up. New pattern: the bridge. Priya stands and touches her doorframe for the sanctuary door, one quiet 446. She names, "I'm protecting hiring quality right now." She writes one sentence on a sticky standard, rubric sent by 4:45, tone calm, clear, then she types her bridge. "I'm heads down on the hiring rubric until 4:45 to keep interviews tight. I can do a focused 15 at 5:00 or send 3 questions that will shape the partnership call. What's better for you?" The CEO replies, 5:00 works, send the 3 cues. Priya stays on the ledger, finishes the rubric, and arrives to the call with clean attention. Her body learns this truth: boundaries are not rejection, they are the scaffolding that holds your best work upright. Check your body, place your tongue lightly on the ridge behind your top teeth to unclench your jaw. Feel the air against the skin at your neck. Let your hands rest with their palms heavy. Imagine your ribcage widening sideways as you inhale, then softening as you exhale. Each small sensation is a thread pulling you back into presence, where the ledger and the bridge live. You might hear an inner protest: "If I budget and set boundaries, won't I become rigid?" No, we're not hardening, we're clarifying. The buffer's white space is what makes you flexible. It's the difference between a tightly packed suitcase that bursts and a well-packed one with a little give. Under pressure, give keeps zippers from breaking. In the brain, give keeps language online and vision wide. You're building give. Run a micro drill called the 2-minute gate. Before you agree to new work, you pass it through a quick gate that tests fit with your ledger. The gate is a whisper: does this serve my 2 priorities for today? If yes, where does it sit in the next 90 minutes? If no, what's my bridge? Speak it out loud. The speaking slows the automatic yes and gives your RAS time to retrieve alternative paths. The gate doesn't make you selfish. It makes you a better teammate because you become the person who keeps promises. Consider the relationship layer. The boundary bridge protects respect when needs diverge. Name no next might sound like this with a friend: "I want to see you and not rush it. Tonight I'm at capacity. I can give you full attention for a walk Saturday morning or a quick check-in now for 10 minutes. What feels best?" The message is love plus reality. The result is often gratitude, not distance. Feel a new sensory beat. Notice the temperature in your palms. Is there warmth, a slight dampness? Let your shoulders lift 1 centimeter toward your ears and then fall. Hear the sound of your own swallow. A relaxed swallow signals safety to your vagus nerve. Safe bodies make better boundaries. Let's tie ledger and bridge to the calm advantage loop so they reinforce each other. When a spike hits, slack ping, tense face across the room, you pause with 1446. You name the signal, you point, what's useful and controllable. The answer often references your ledger, finish the inch I budgeted. If a new request arrives, you act with the bridge. Every loop is a rep that tells your nervous system, we steer. Steering is the opposite of panic. It's also the opposite of people-pleasing, which is just panic dressed as kindness. A short story from home to make this less abstract. Jonah co-parents a 7-year-old and works remotely. Monday at 5:20 p.m. his ex texts, "Can you keep Maya tonight? I've got a work thing." The old pattern would have been a reflexive yes, followed by a late-night scramble to finish his deck and a brittle Tuesday. Jonah has been practicing. He checks his ledger budget, dinner, bath, then 45 minutes on the deck after bedtime, lights out by 10:30. He touches the countertop edge for door, breathes once, and runs the bridge. "I want to support you and keep Maya's bedtime steady. I can do tonight if I move my deck, or I can swap Wednesday. If tonight, I'll need to start at 6 and I'll send you the pickup photos." "What works?" The reply, "Let's swap Wednesday, thanks." Jonah keeps his evening intact, and because he honored both the child's rhythm and the adult's need, the co-parenting groove strengthens. Boundaries are bridges. Crossing them together builds trust. Return to your body. Feel your feet. Really feel them. The way weight spreads from heel to ball to toes. Imagine roots widening through the floor, not downward in a fantasy, but outward like a stable stance. Your nervous system believes what your body repeats. Repetition of grounded stance writes the memory, I'm supported. There's a trap to watch for, the secret yes. That's when you say the words of a boundary but keep your mind available to interruptions, a door half open. Your brain stays in vigilance, and vigilance burns fuel. To avoid secret yeses, pair the bridge with the focus lock, a gentle ritual. You speak your standard for the block, set your device in do not disturb, put one object, a mug, a book, on the edge of your desk to signal in session, and widen your gaze for 2 breaths. That tiny altar tells your brain and anyone who sees you, this is valued time. Rituals remove self-negotiation. Removing self-negotiation restores confidence like a tide. Here's how the ledger saves you from the afternoon slide. 3 o'clock arrives and your energy dips. Instead of opening 3 tabs and calling it work, you look at your single page. It tells you a truth future you will thank you for. 1 more inch on the priority, then a 10-minute walk, then micro-range email. You follow that line like a handrail down a dark stairwell. On the walk, you let your eyes shift to distant horizons. That distance relaxes your visual cortex and drops your overall arousal. You come back and finish the inch. The day ends with the clean fatigue of someone who lifted exactly the right weight, not the scattered exhaustion of someone who carried every box in the room. A quick word on guilt. If you were trained to earn love by anticipating needs, saying no may feel like you're breaking a law, you're not. You're changing an economy that left you underfunded. The boundary bridge pays everyone in clarity. At first, some may push back, especially those who benefited from your unbudgeted yes. Hold steady. Name no next with warmth. People who value you will adapt. The rest were renting your bandwidth at a rate that kept you small. Sensory reset. Place 1 hand on your chest and 1 on your belly. Inhale so the bottom hand rises a little. Exhale so both hands drop. Feel the fabric shift against your palms. Notice any micro tremble in your exhale and let it smooth. If your throat tightens, imagine a warm wash over the front of your neck. The body is not in your way, it's the way. To install these tools, run a 15-minute rehearsal called the Ledger Lab. Sit with a blank page. Write today's 2 priorities in 12 words each. Underneath, write your maintenance batch, messages, admin, errands, with time caps that add up to less than your remaining hour. Speak them out loud. Then practice 3 boundary bridges in writing for common scenarios. The urgent ping, the got a minute, the after-hours request. Read them quietly, then out loud. Feel how your voice changes when the words are ready. You're not scripting a life, you're smoothing a runway. Tie the ledger lab to identity. You are not a servant of other people's calendars. You are a steward of your attention, a designer of bridges that let work and care cross cleanly. When you forget and give a messy yes, repair with the rapid reset. I overcommitted. Here's a specific next that I can honor, followed by a new boundary. Repair is not an apology tour. It's how strong systems learn. One last scene at the intersection of ambition and peace. Your days from a launch, the team is stretched, your name is on the banner. Late night, your mind starts to spin. You step into sanctuary with the door of your notebook edge, 1446. Buzzing chest, big stakes, you name. You see the room and feel the chair meet your spine. You open your ledger and write, budget, 40 minutes on QA pass, 10 on update note, 5 on stretch, 5 buffer. A message pings, can you review the social copy tonight? You bridge, I'm in a QA block until 10:15 to protect stability. I can do a sharp pass at 10:20 or at 7:45 a.m. with fresh eyes, which helps more. The reply, morning is better. You return to your inch. The launch ships solid. The next day, your face looks like someone who slept near enough to peace to recognize it. Feel the room hold you. Hear the smallest sound again. Let your exhale lengthen by a breath beat. Picture your attention as a handful of bright coins you place, deliberately, into the day's 2 jars. See the bridges you lay when someone calls your name. This is not about hiding from life. It's about arriving to life with enough of yourself intact to matter. Identity once more on purpose. You are not a leaking bucket of goodwill. You are the awareness that budgets attention and builds bridges. You are the craftsperson who chooses where the light goes for the hour and trusts that saying no to noise is saying yes to the work and people that define you. When you forget, you budget again. When someone pushes, you offer a bridge. Confidence becomes a ledger you enjoy balancing, a river you cross with calm feet. One last sensory seal. Notice the outline of your ears, feel the coolness there, sense the weight of your clothing at your shoulders. Let your peripheral vision widen until you catch a hint of movement at the edge of the room. Breathe once more with a long, soft exhale. Speak the line you'll use today, budget batch buffer, name no next. Let it settle in your chest. Your day will rise to meet it. Confidence becomes a trait when your choices stop depending on moods. Today you'll design those choices so they're easy to make even when your energy dips. Think of this as building guardrails for your best self, quiet rails you barely notice until a curve arrives. 2 tools help you do that, the window widen protocol and the emotional alchemy ladder. One breaks tunnel vision in real time so your mind sees options. The other turns raw feelings into fuel, step by step, until they power action instead of scattering it. With them, your days stop hinging on whether you feel like it, because you've architected decisions that carry you even when weather rolls in. Start with window widen. Under stress, your attentional window narrows, eyesight literally tunnels a little, hearing filters to threats, and your inner narrator shouts in a single register. The protocol takes 15 seconds and opens that window so the prefrontal cortex can regain its range. It has 3 moves: orient, out-breath, options. You orient by naming 3 external facts: lamp, window latch, calendar square showing Thursday. You take 1 slow out-breath, 4-4-6, letting the exhale be a half beat longer than comfort. Then you list 3 options that are available in the next 2 minutes, even if tiny. Send the 1-sentence update, cut slide 9, fill the glass and stand in sunlight for 60 seconds. You're not solving life, you're widening the lane. The brain hears the rhythm, 3-1-3, and learns. In pressure, we don't freeze, we widen and move. Try it now with something slightly hot. Think of the message you're avoiding or the task that grows teeth in your mind. Orient, say 3 facts you can see without moving your head. Lamp, cup, a smudge on the screen. Out breath, in through your nose for 4, hold for 4, out through pursed lips for 6. Options, whisper 3 viable inches. Notice how your chest feels after you speak them. That soft click you feel near your sternum is your system shifting from survival to choice. Check your senses like a pilot checks gauges. Feel the fabric at your shoulder blades. Hear the quietest sound in the room, then the farthest. Let your jaw unclench by placing your tongue softly against the ridge behind your upper teeth. Make the next exhale so smooth it's nearly silent. This is not decoration, it's a control panel. The body's green lights bring the smart brain online. Now the emotional alchemy ladder. Feelings are not problems, they are ingredients. The ladder has 5 rungs: sense, name, need, value, move. Sense is pure sensation, heat in cheeks, weight in chest, fizz in stomach. Name gives it simple language: anger, disappointment, anticipation, grief, tenderness. Need asks what the nervous system is requesting: certainty, space, respect, information, repair. Value connects it to what matters: fairness, growth, love, craft, health. Move is the one wise inch that honors the value. Ask for a deadline, take a walk, draft a boundary line, offer repair. Climb the ladder, and the same surge that used to derail you becomes the current that moves the boat. A story to place both tools in the wild. Ria is a senior engineer asked to present a bug postmortem to a cross-functional room ripe with blame. 20 minutes before the meeting, a manager drops a comment in Slack: "Let's make sure we own our part." Ria's body flushes hot. The old film starts. If I own too much, we get steamrolled. If I defend, I look fragile. Her vision narrows to the word own. She catches it and runs window widen. Orient, plant notebook icon for 300 on her screen. Out breath, slow, longer exhale. Options, draft 1 opener, send a pre-note to a line tone, stand in the doorway for light. Chest softens. Then she climbs the alchemy ladder. Sense, heat rising, tight throat. Name, anger and fear. Need, fairness, clarity. Value, integrity and learning. Move, write 1 sentence that holds the value. She types, "I'm going to frame this as what failed in the system and what we've already changed, and I'll take ownership for the decision path we chose." In the room, that sentence sets the climate. The post-mortem becomes a lesson, not a trial. Ria leaves with her spine taller, not because the room was kind, but because she changed her window and climbed the ladder. Return to your own body. Notice the line where your lower ribs meet your abdomen. Let your inhale fill the back and side ribs, not just the front. Exhale until your shoulders drop a few millimeters. Feel your feet make friends with the floor. Confidence is a posture your mind can trust. You might hear the internal skeptic: "Ladders and windows sound cute. Will they matter when stakes bite?" That skepticism is welcome. Give it a live test. Set a timer for 3 minutes. Pick a real friction, the call you must make, the draft you fear will be judged. In minute 1, run window widen. Speak your 3 facts. Breathe, name 3 options. In minute 2, climb the first 3 rungs. Sense, name, need, writing 1 word per rung. In minute 3, tag value and take the move, even if it's sending a single sentence or scheduling the task for a precise window. Notice your pulse after. Your nervous system learns from completed loops. The science is humble. Action paired with lower arousal rewires prediction. You've just told your amygdala, this wasn't a tiger, it was a phone call, and your prefrontal cortex smiles. Let's add a tiny physical primer that makes the ladder's first rung easier. It's called the 20-second shake. Stand up if you can. Let your hands hang and shake them gently from the wrists, then your forearms like you're flicking water off your fingertips. Shake your shoulders, bounce through your knees, let your cheeks wobble a bit. 20 seconds sends a clean signal to your midbrain: we're not frozen. Animals do this after a scare, they complete the cycle. When you sit, your skin will tingle a little, that's fresh blood flow. Now feel again, sense, name, need. See how language comes easier when the body has moved. A second story, this time at home. Keiko and Anna have been together for 3 years. They're planning a move, money is tight. Keiko opens the spreadsheet and sees a red number she didn't expect. Her stomach drops. She hears the old sentence, "I'm carrying this alone." In the past, that thought would spill into a jab. Today, Keiko steps to the window and runs window widen. Orient, tree outside, cup with a chip, the number 14 on the calendar. Out breath. Options, ask for a 10-minute budget huddle, flag the number, step outside for 2 minutes. Then the ladder, sense, drop in the stomach, clenched jaw. Name, fear and resentment. Need, partnership. Value, shared stewardship. Move, ask for a micro-huddle with a neutral opener. She says, "Can we do a 10-minute look together? I'm seeing a number I don't understand and I want us to steer this together." Anna joins. They discover an auto-renewed subscription. They cancel, breathe, high five. Tiny, ordinary victory. But inside Keiko, something large occurs. Her body learns a new route between fear and connection. Drop a sensory marker now. Feel the cool on the inside of your nostrils as you inhale. Feel the warm ribbon leaving on the exhale. Touch thumb to middle finger and feel the faint pulse. Let your gaze widen until you catch the edge of a shadow on the wall. The world is bigger than the story your window knows. Your reticular activating system will start to anticipate the move you tend to pick after you climb the ladder. Harness that with a morning prime called the 3-target compass. On a sticky note, write 3 values you want to embody today: clarity, kindness, craft, or 3 outcomes that matter by sundown. Keep each to 1 word. Then write 1 likely snag and which tool you'll use: window widen, ladder, or the calm advantage loop. When your RAS sees that note near your screen or your mug, it aligns like a compass to north. You'll notice the snag sooner and reach for the tool faster. The day stops feeling like a gauntlet and starts feeling like practice. There's a trap on the ladder to notice with kindness, skipping from name directly to move, bypassing need and value. That's the productivity reflex. It works until it doesn't, because action that ignores need often comes with a residue of resentment. Slowing down to ask need and value doesn't cost time, it saves repairs. And when a day is sharp-edged, your need might be space, your value long-term health, and your move 2 minutes in fresh air before I write the reply. If the results are cleaner, your tone becomes the kind you admire in others: steady, direct, warm. A work vignette with sharper stakes. Oleg is an account director. A client dumps praise on a rival firm on a public call and asks Oleg's team to match their energy. Oleg feels his face heat. A younger version of him would promise too much and pull an all-nighter. He runs window widen under the table, pen, pitcher, blinking cursor on the shared dock. Out breath. Options, reflect the request, ask for 1 concrete criterion, propose a focused experiment. Then the ladder. Sense, heat, tightened chest. Name, competitiveness and anxiety. Need, respect, specific criteria. Value, honest excellence. Move, could you name the 2 moments that made you say energy so we can target precisely? We'll pilot a variant on those 2 by Friday. The room shifts from vague pressure to design. Oleg doesn't just keep his team sane, he earns authority by asking for the lever instead of promising the whole machine. Feel your chair support you again. Notice the back of your neck. Imagine a warm hand behind it, steadying. Let your shoulders roll back and down, as if placing them into deep pockets. Breathe once with a slow release. The body keeps teaching your mind fairness. Integrate window widen and the ladder into your calm advantage loop for a master sequence you can run anywhere. The loop's pause becomes your orient and out breath. The loop's name is covered by sense and name. The loop's point is your need and value, what matters and is controllable. The loop's act is your move, the inch that honors value now. You've been assembling these parts all along, now they click like magnets. Under pressure, you don't guess, you run the sequence. The amygdala loves sequences that end in relief. Relief becomes confidence. At night, before your phone tries to claim you, run a micro closure that keeps windows clean for morning. It's called the light down tally. Sit for 2 minutes with a dim lamp. Breathe 4-4-6 twice. Write 3 lines. 1 inch you moved that honored a value, 1 snag you handled with a tool, 1 open loop you'll touch before 10 a.m. tomorrow. Speak them softly. This isn't a productivity seance. It's closure. Closure tells the midbrain the day is complete enough to sleep. Sleep feeds confidence more reliably than any mantra. A tender note for days when the ladder feels like a climb in wet boots. When grief or rage visits with volume, your move might be do nothing wisely. That can look like lying on the floor with a hand on your chest for 5 minutes or taking a slow walk around the block, naming the colors you see. Alchemy isn't always turning lead to gold. Sometimes it's placing lead gently on a shelf where it doesn't fall on your foot. Honoring the weight is also wisdom. Here's a small human scene to underline that truth. Hassan loses a deal he chased for months. The email lands at 8:12 a.m. and his body goes hollow. He knows that if he forces the ladder fast, he'll fake it and feel brittle. He chooses the 90-second weather rule first, then window widen. Orient, mug, keyboard shine, edge of a cloud. Out breath. Options, tell his manager in 1 sentence, take a 5-minute walk, write the post-mortem outline. Then the ladder. Sense hollow chest, cold hands, name, loss and embarrassment. Need, dignity, perspective, value, craft and growth. Move, sent this note, we didn't land it. I'll send a crisp post-mortem by 11 and 3 leads to replace it. He takes the walk, names 5 blue things, returns, and writes the post-mortem. Confidence doesn't feel like a parade. It feels like a person doing the next right inch with a steady voice. One more sensory seal. Notice the outline of your lips. Feel the micro-cool at the tip of your nose. Hear the smallest tick in the room, the HVAC, the street, your own breath brushing the back of your throat. Widen your view so you can see the ceiling and the floor in one soft gaze. In that wideness, choose a value for the next hour. Whisper it. Then name the simplest move that would honor it. Nod. Your nod is a contract between the awareness you are and the weather that comes and goes. Identity once more made plainer than ever. You are not a mood waiting to decide who you are. You are the awareness that widens the window, climbs the ladder, and picks the inch that matches your values. You don't perform confidence. You practice architectures that generate it when it counts. When you forget, you're not back at 0, you're at the next rep. The window is always there. The ladder is always there. Your hand knows both. Tomorrow you'll refine your voice, the way you speak to yourself and others under pressure, using the compression to clarity script and the 2-breath ask, so that your words move rooms without raising your volume. For now, carry your window and your ladder. Place them gently in your pocket like tools that make difficult days workable and good days quietly great. Words are levers. Under pressure, most people either say too much and dilute the lever or say too little and make others guess. Today you'll forge a voice that moves rooms without raising volume. You'll practice 2 tools, the compression to clarity script and the 2-breath ask. One shrinks tangled thoughts into a sentence that lands. The other turns awkward requests into clean agreements without adrenaline spikes. Together, they turn noise into signal and signal into action. Confidence isn't louder speech. It's language fitted to purpose, delivered from a steady body. Start with compression to clarity. Your brain generates drafts the way a fountain makes water, constant, splashy, pretty in the air but messy on the ground. Compression catches the spray and pours it into a glass. The script is 4 steps you'll run in under a minute. Dump, distill, decide, deliver. Dump is a 30-second free write or whisper where you spill everything you're tempted to say. Distill is the 1-sentence summary that names the point and the ask. Decide is the tone and timing. Do you want invitational, directive, or collaborative, now or later? Deliver is the actual line, spoken slowly on a long exhale. When you repeat the script, your reticular activating system learns to fetch the spine of your message fast. Your amygdala learns that speech doesn't equal danger, it equals design. Try it with a live knot. Think of a conversation that's been circling your mind, a check-in with your manager, a boundary with a friend, a repair with a partner. Dump for 30 seconds, whisper or write the unedited paragraph. Don't aim, spill. Distill, write one sentence that starts with "the point is" and ends with "and what I'm asking is." Decide. Pick a tone word, calm, crisp, warm, and a time window, now, end of day, tomorrow morning. Deliver, speak the sentence on a slow, steady exhale, letting your jaw stay loose. Notice the sensation in your chest when you hear your own clarity. It isn't bravado, it's relief. Brains like clean lines. Pause and take inventory of your senses. Feel the weight of your tongue resting softly against the back of your teeth. Notice the cool in your nostrils on the inhale and the slight warmth on the exhale. Let your shoulders slide down as if dropping into deep pockets. Widen your gaze so you can see the edges of the room without moving your head. That wideness tells the midbrain there's no ambush. From there, your words round out. Here's a hallway story. Malik, a team lead with a habit of over-explaining, was asked by the VP, "How's the launch?" In the past, he'd deliver a 7-minute tour through every cave of the project. This time, he ran compression to clarity in real time. Dump silently in his head, a blizzard of details. Distill, the point is we're green on scope and amber on QA throughput. I'm asking for one extra tester for 48 hours. Decide, tone, calm, timing, now. Deliver, we're on track on features, a bit tight on QA, one extra tester for 2 days keeps us green. The VP said, done, and kept walking. Malik felt a surprising lightness, the way a backpack feels after you take out the brick you forgot you were carrying. His body learned a new association: clarity saves oxygen. Now the two-breath ask, a small ritual that keeps your requests from sounding like demands or apologies. Most asks fail because they arrive with one of two contaminants: urgency that triggers resistance or vagueness that creates confusion. Two-breath ask clears both. Breath 1 is for you, 446 with jaw loose, to bring your voice down a half step and widen your window. Breath 2 is for them, a silent pause where you imagine their world and name a reality they hold. Then you ask in 3 beats: context, concrete request, check. Context, one clause that orients the person. Concrete request, the specific thing with a when and a why. Check, a question that invites agency. It sounds like, to hit Friday's handoff cleanly, could you review slide 8 and 12 by 3 p.m. for accuracy? Does that timing work, or should we trade scope? 2 breaths plus 3 beats. Your voice stays kind and clear. Practice now with something small. Choose a real ask, feedback on a draft, help with pickup, a quieter work block. Breathe once for you. Picture their day for 1 second. Breathe once for them. Then speak your 3 beats aloud. Context, request, check. Feel the difference between that and "hey, can you just?" The former is an adult-to-adult bridge. The latter is a tug on a sleeve. Bridges carry weight. Sleeves rip. Let your senses mark this shift. Feel the weight of your hands, the stretch of skin across your knuckles. If your jaw sneaks tight, place your tongue gently on the roof of your mouth and let the corners of your lips soften. Hear the softest ambient sound, the hum of a vent, distant street noise. Let your exhale lengthen by a half beat. Your voice draws power from this quiet. A relationship scene brings the tools into the kitchen. Mara and Eli manage a household with 2 careers and 1 elderly dog. Evenings often slide into friction over chores. Tuesday at 7:10, dishes piled, inboxes pinging. Mara feels the familiar prickliness. Old pattern, a sarcasm about who always cleans. Tonight she runs compression to clarity in the hallway. Dump, I'm drowning, you don't see it, I'm not your maid. Distill, point is I need 15 minutes of dedicated cleanup help. I'm asking for that now so we both can breathe. Decide, tone warm and direct. Timing now. Deliver on a long exhale. I'm underwater. If you can do 15 minutes of dishes with me now, I'll handle the dog meds and we both get the evening back. Does that work? Eli exhales. He'd been holding his 2. Yeah, timer it. They set a timer, clink plates in rhythm, and the night moves. Small words, big outcome. Their bodies learn that needs spoken clearly get met faster. than needs thrown as arrows. Your amygdala likes to sprint your mouth ahead of your mind when stakes rise. That's biology, not bad character. The way through is rehearsal. The prefrontal cortex loves scripts that end in relief. Run a 1-minute drill called crisp then kind. First sentence crisp, second sentence kind. The crisp sentence names the point and the ask. The kind sentence names care or partnership. We'll ship V1 without the animation. Please approve by 4. I appreciate the push for polish. We'll capture it for V11, or with a friend. I'm going to head out by 10 to keep tomorrow clean. I've loved this time. Let's put the next one on the books. Crisp keeps edges clean. Kind keeps connection warm. Together, they form a hinge that doesn't squeak. Check your body again. Feel the chair take your weight. Let your shoulders tip back and down 2 millimeters. Notice the temperature on your cheeks. Breathe in through your nose. Send the exhale low like you're fogging a mirror softly through pursed lips. You're not powering up, you're powering down into steadiness. Another workplace vignette, this time with conflict. A designer Nor gets a Slack message from a PM. We need 3 alt concepts by tomorrow. Nor's chest tightens. The story arrives. They don't respect my craft. She touches the desk edge door, breathes once, and runs 2 breath ask to reshape the moment. Breath for herself, breath imagining the PM's pressure. Then context, request, check. To hit tomorrow without burning quality, can we align on the single riskiest assumption to test? If it's hero image, I'll deliver 1 strong alternate and 2 variants by 2 p.m. Does that de-risk enough? Or should we push the review to Wednesday? The PM replies, hero image is the risk. Wednesday works better. Nor protects her standards and her nervous system. Confidence isn't saying yes to everything. It's offering the right yes in the right shape. Pop neuroscience, tight and useful. When you speak on a long exhale, you stimulate the vagus nerve and downshift arousal, which makes your tone richer and your words steadier. When you compress thought to 1 sentence, you reduce working memory load for both you and your listener. They can actually process and agree. Your reticular activating system, trained by repetition, starts auto-fetching point plus ask formats. This is skill, not personality. No one is born with it. People practice it until it feels natural. Run the clarity card trick to hardwire compression. Take an index card or a small note in your phone. At the top, write point plus ask. Underneath, write 3 stems you'll use daily. The point is I'm asking for, what matters most is, so my request is, to keep this clean, could you buy? Keep the card visible during calls for a week. Each time you use a stem, tag it with a tiny dot. Dots become maps, maps become habits. Your brain loves visible evidence that a system is working. Pause for a sensory scan. Feel the skin around your eyes. Let it soften. Sense the slight movement of your shirt at your shoulders as you breathe. Find the farthest sound again. Track your exhale all the way to the end, like watching a wave flatten on sand. That quiet at the end of an exhale, that's where your best sentences come from. Clarity shines brightest in repair. You raised your voice earlier, now your stomach is tight with regret. Old pattern, avoidance, then defensive over-explaining. Use compression to clarity plus a rapid repair. Dump for 10 seconds. Excuses, context, guilt. Distill 1 sentence. I spoke sharply, I'm sorry. The point I meant to make is X. Decide, tone humble, timing soon. Deliver on a long exhale. Add a 2-breath ask if next actions are needed. Could we take 2 minutes to reset expectations so I don't repeat that? Repair like this doesn't grovel. It restores trust faster than silence ever does. Short personal story for tenderness. Sam, mid-30s, talks to himself like a rival coach. When he messes up, the voice in his head stings, sloppy behind always. After a rough morning, he tries a variant called in a compression. Dump on paper everything the critic says, distill the actual need. The point is I want to be dependable. I'm asking myself for 1 concrete step. Decide tone, respectful, deliver to himself. Block 30 minutes to fix the error, send a clear update. He breathes twice and acts. The critic loses its job. A new voice gets hired, firm, friendly, specific. Identity shifts 1 inch at a time when the voice in your head starts playing for your team. Drop into your senses. Feel the outline of your lips, the cool of breath touching them. Notice your feet again, how the pressure changes slightly from heel to ball as you inhale, then back as you exhale. Widen your field of view and pick one neutral object to rest your gaze on for 2 breaths. You're practicing presence. Presence is where clean language lives. Install these tools with a 5-minute daily drill called Speak and Breathe. Minute 1, write 3 dump lines about a topic. Minute 2, distill 1 sentence. Minute 3, speak it aloud on a slow exhale 3 times, changing tone each time, calm, crisp, warm, and feel which lands. Minute 4, write a 2-breath ask related to the sentence. Minute 5, deliver it to a recorder or a mirror. Don't judge polish, judge honesty and clarity. A week of this, and your mouth will reach for clarity when your mind is busy. You'll also meet the temptation to pad your ask with apologies. Replace "sorry to bother" with respect-forward context. "I want to respect your focus window. Is 3:10 an okay time for a 3-minute decision on slide 8? Respect without self-erase. Your nervous system hears the difference and stands a little taller. A story at higher stakes. Lena leads a critical call with a partner who's 2 months behind. The room is prickly. Old Lena would lecture the timeline and wilt under interruption. New Lena runs compression to clarity during a breath before unmuting. Dump, frustration, fear, all the reasons they're wrong. Distill, point is we need a date certain for API stability. I'm asking for a signed change order or a rollback by Friday. Decide, tone, steely warm, timing, first 2 minutes. Deliver, to land our joint launch, we need one of 2 paths. A signed change order that funds the extra month or a rollback to the stable API by Friday. Which path are you prepared to commit to? She waits, breathing slow. Silence stretches, then someone says rollback by Friday. She follows with a 2-breath ask. We'll send the rollback checklist in 10. Can you confirm the owner on your side now? Names are given. Afterwards, Lena feels the afterglow not of dominance, but of alignment. Her body learns, clear, kind force is safe. Let your jaw loosen again. Place one hand on your chest, one on your lower ribs. Inhale so the bottom hand rises. Exhale so both soften. Hear the room, feel the chair. Say softly, point and ask. The words can be quiet and still carry. If you stumble, because you will, use a tiny recovery called the mid-sentence reset. Stop, breathe once and say, let me say that more clearly. Then deliver your distilled sentence. Most people will lean in. They prefer clarity to speed, and your steadiness buys goodwill. The brain on the other side relaxes. Collaboration gets easier. Identity turn, simple and true. You are not the echo of rooms you've been in where people talked over you or where you learned to fill silence so no one would be disappointed. You are the awareness that compresses into clarity and asks with breath. You are the one who can move a meeting with a sentence and repair a rift with a line spoken on a long exhale. Words used to cost you energy. Now they return energy because they build what you value and end sooner. Seal this session with a sensory beat. Feel the tiny coolness on the back of your throat as air passes. Sense the weight of your clothing on your shoulders. Find one point of contact and rest your attention there for a breath. Let your peripheral vision open wide. Imagine the next conversation that matters today. See yourself dump once, distill once, decide tone, deliver slowly. Then 2 breaths, one for you, one for them. Context, request, check. Watch the moment tilt toward ease. That tilt is confidence doing its quiet job. Tomorrow you'll sharpen execution with the momentum engine and the friction audit, systems that turn slow starts into reliable flow and help you remove invisible sand from your gears. For now, carry your 2 tools. Speak less and say more. Breathe twice and build bridges. Your voice doesn't need armor, it needs aim. Momentum isn't motivation, it's mechanics. Motivation is the gust of wind you wait for. Momentum is the engine you build, so the car moves even on quiet days. Today you'll install two systems that make starting easy and keeping going almost automatic: the momentum engine and the friction audit. The engine turns tiny sparks into steady forward motion without theatrics. The audit finds the invisible sand in your gears, micro-resistances that steal speed, and removes them with surgical tweaks. When these live in your day, you won't ask, "Do I feel like it?" You'll ask, "Which gear are we in?" Begin with the momentum engine. It has four parts you'll learn like the inside of your pocket: spark, glide path, cadence lock, and wind tag. Spark is the smallest ignition that proves movement: one sentence typed, shoes on, file open, timer set. Glide path is a pre-drawn slope that makes the first few inches downhill, a checklist that starts at 0, a template with the first 3 lines, a playlist that begins with the same steady track. Cadence lock is a time box that repeats, often 25-45 minutes, so your brain recognizes the rhythm and lowers startup friction. Wind tag is the habit of stamping each block with a short line, "That's me steering," so your reticular activating system remembers success and wants more. Spark lights, glide path guides, cadence lock sustains, wind tag seals. Try a micro install now. Pick something you're avoiding: a draft, a workout, a hard email. Spark, type the subject line, lay out the shoes, write opening, X glide path, open the document that already has the first prompt or the 3 bullets you'll fill. Cadence lock, set a 25-minute timer. Wind tag, pre-write the sentence you'll say at the end, block done, next inch at 2:15. Your body will resist only for a breath, then the rails do the work. You're not powering through, you're being carried by the track you built. Notice your body while you read. Feel the cool air at your nostrils on the inhale and the slight warmth on the exhale. Let your shoulders loosen as if they're sliding into deep pockets. Sense the weight of your feet pressing into the floor, widen your toes inside your shoes. Hear the farthest sound in the space, then the nearest, the soft click in your throat as you swallow. That exhale you just offered is the engine's fuel, smooth, quiet, renewable. A story to make the engine real. Rosa is a software lead who loves finishing and hates starting. Mornings feel like pushing a boulder. She builds her momentum engine on Sunday night. Spark, every weekday her start is a single line: open roadmap V3 and read the last paragraph aloud. Glide path, the doc begins with a 3-step starter checklist and a low-friction prompt. Write the ugliest next 3 sentences. Cadence lock, she works in 2 35-minute cycles with a 5-minute walk between. Wind tag, she writes 1 sentence in a tiny ledger, 8:49:15, roadmap moved 1 inch, calmer than expected. By Thursday she notices something odd. The first 5 minutes no longer feel like a cliff. The engine is humming. When a day blows up, she still hits 1 spark. The week ends with less self-reproach and more delivered work. Her amygdala learns a new prediction: starting is safe. Under the hood, it's simple. Every clear start point reduces working memory load. Every pre-built glide path lowers decision fatigue. Cadence locks in dopamine's gentle drip without requiring novelty spikes. The wind tag teaches your RAS to spot progress, which makes progress easier to repeat. You're not hacking yourself, you're respecting how a brain moves best. Shift to the friction audit, the engine's quiet partner. Friction is any repeating snag that slows you by 5% or more, a login that times out, a chair that makes your back ache at minute 20, a conversation that spirals for lack of a script, a morning routine that hides your shoes. The audit is a weekly ritual with 3 questions. Where did I stall? What was the tiny cause? What is the smallest environmental or process change that would remove it? You don't fight friction with willpower, you delete it or route around it. Run a 2-minute audit right now. Scan the last 3 days and write 3 stalls you remember. Maybe you opened your doc and surfed tabs. Maybe you delayed a call because you didn't know the first sentence. Maybe you skipped a run because your sock drawer is chaos. Name the tiny cause without poetry. No first line, socks buried, tabs yelling. Now write one friction fix for each. A template with a first sentence stem, a standing card with 3 call openers, a basket by the door with socks and shoes. That's it. The fixes are boring on purpose. Systems that survive are uninteresting and everywhere. Check your senses again. Feel your back ribs expand as you breathe. Notice the temperature on your cheeks. Let your jaw soften by resting your tongue against the ridge behind your upper teeth. Widen your field of view until you can see the ceiling and the floor in one soft glance. In this wider window, solutions shimmer where they were hidden. Here's a real scene where audit saves a day. Kenji is a junior lawyer drafting a brief. His pattern is to grind for 90 minutes, then crash into snacks and doom scroll for 30. He audits. Stall, crash at 10:45. Cause, back pain and visual fatigue. Fix. A $14 footrest under the desk and a 40-second distance 20 habit. Every 20 minutes, look 20 feet away for 20 seconds. He sets a subtle chime. He also adds a glide path. The brief template opens with write trash version of the first paragraph in 60 seconds. The next day, the crash evaporates. He finishes earlier and takes a real walk at lunch, not a fake break that tastes like regret. His confidence is not just pride, it's relief multiplied by design. Fold the friction audit into your momentum engine for a continuous improvement loop. End each engine block with a 5-breath check. What sparked cleanly? Where did I drag? What tiny fix will make the next block smoother? Apply one fix immediately, even if it's moving a button in your toolbar, writing a crisp call opener on a sticky, or clearing the 2 physical items that collect on your desk like barnacles. Each fix is a kindness you compound. Another story, this time from home. Talia wants to read 20 minutes nightly. Netflix keeps winning. She audits, stall at 9:40, cause, the book is in the other room and the lamp is harsh. Fix, place the book on the pillow at 7 p.m. and swap the bulb for a warm low lumen. She adds engine parts. Spark, open the book to a folded page before brushing teeth. Glide path, a bookmark with read only 1 paragraph, stop allowed. Cadence lock, 20-minute sand timer. Win tag, read before screens, written on a tiny card. In a week, her brain stops bargaining. Reading happens because the room tells it to. She falls asleep with a calmer nervous system. Mornings arrive with steadier focus. Identity shifts not because of a vow, but because the friction to a good choice is lower than the friction to a numbing one. Drop into your body. Place one hand on your chest, one on your belly. Inhale so the bottom hand rises. Exhale so both soften. Feel the chair meet the length of your spine. Hear the smallest mechanical sound in your space. This is the cockpit. You're building instruments that fly you through weather. A small but mighty engine add-on, the launch pad. It's a 1-minute end-of-day ritual that sets tomorrow's spark and glide path before you walk away. You write on a sticky, start with specific tiny action. You open the dock to the exact line, place the object you need where your hand will touch it, and lay out the first song for your cadence. Your future self doesn't start from zero, they start from already moving. Launchpad has a sibling called the landing strip. At the end of the first block tomorrow, you pre-write the next start line. Planes don't just land anywhere, they have strips that remove guesswork. Guesswork is friction wearing a polite hat. You'll see friction disguised as noble habit, overly long morning routines that require perfect energy, complex to-do apps that ask for more management than work, meetings that feel important but produce no decisions. Audit these with a scalpel. Replace perfect routine with a 2-point prime, 2 non-negotiables that always fire, water plus breath, socks by the door plus first sentence. Replace complex tools with a single-page ledger. Replace vague meetings with a clarity card on the agenda. Decision we must leave with. Your calendar becomes a map, not a museum of intentions. Let your senses reset. Trace the outline of your lips with attention. Notice the coolness where air passes. Relax the tiny muscles around your eyes. Let your exhale lengthen until your shoulders drop a fraction. Wider gaze, warmer breath, clearer rails. Your reticular activating system will begin to hunt for sparks and celebrate win tags on its own. Feed it with visible cues. Keep a tiny momentum map where you mark each engine block with a dot. Dots are not for guilt, they're for pattern recognition. After 4 or 5 days, you'll see your best windows for deep work and your common snag times. Shift your engine to those truths. Confidence grows when your schedule matches your biology. A sharper vignette under pressure. Amira runs ops in a fast-growth company. Fire drills are real. She used to drown in reactive work and resent strategic projects dying on the vine. She installs both systems. Her engine, 2 40-minute strategy blocks at 9:00 and 1:30 with hard cadence locks and no ping status. Sparks are right first 3 bullets for vendor RFP and draft checklist for Q4 capacity. Her friction audit reveals that quick questions eat mornings. She builds a boundary bridge template. I'm in a 40-minute block protecting ops stability. Drop the question here and I'll address at 10:05 batch, or if urgent, page red and I'll pause now. She also puts a whiteboard by the team table, parking lot, which reduces Slack pings by half. 1 month later, the ops fires still happen. Amira's engine runs anyway. Projects land. Her sleep improves. Her team starts copying her patterns. Culture changes because one person removed sand from gears and shared oil. A tenderness here. Some friction comes from grief, trauma, or chronic stress, not just messy systems. Engines and audits aren't cures, they're scaffolds. When your body is heavy, your spark can be open the blinds, your glide path sit by the window for 5 minutes, your cadence lock 2 songs, your win tag I showed up. The point is not shiny performance. It's continuity of care for a life that matters to you. Friction from pain deserves compassion and might need help beyond this page. Keep the tools, add support. Sensory beat, slow and kind. Lift your shoulders a centimeter, then let them fall. Notice the temperature on your forearms. Feel the contact points between your back and the chair. Imagine the chair receiving you a little more. Hear the room's hush. Breathe 4-4-6 once, allowing the exhale to be silk. Install a weekly ritual called Sunday Smoothing. 15 minutes. Make tea. Open a single page with 2 columns, engines and frictions. Under engines, you list your 2 core blocks for the week with their sparks and glide paths. Under frictions, you write 3 recurring snags and their smallest fixes. You place any tool or object in the right place now, charger by the bag, pen on the notebook, shoes by the door. You write 3 boundary bridges you'll likely need and stash them in a notes app. You end by writing your win tag line for the week. That's me steering, or calm beats clever, or inch by inch. Close the page. The week already feels smoother because you made it so. When resistance spikes mid-block, use a tiny recovery called the 10-word tunnel. Write 10 ugly words that move the task forward no more. If you're drafting, user taps button, screen shakes, error pops, we explain why. If you're emailing, subject decision, need yes or no by noon for X, 10 words keep your hand moving through the tunnel until you see light. Often, once you reach the 11th word, the engine has taken over. A story about repair when engines stall. Matteo, the designer from earlier, loses a morning to scattered energy. Noon arrives with guilt. Old Matteo would write a punishing list. New Matteo runs rapid reset. He touches door, breathes 4-4-6, runs a 5-line audit, then relights the engine with a spark. Open Figma duplicate frame. Glide path, drop screenshot of current state. Cadence lock, 20 minutes lo-fi, win tag, back on track at 12:20. He eats, walks 5 minutes, returns. The afternoon lands. Confidence isn't the absence of stumbles, it's the presence of systems that let you rise without theatrics. Return to your senses for a seal. Feel the skin at your temples, let it soften. Notice the air touching the back of your throat. Widen your gaze until you can see both corners of the room. Place one hand on your chest, one on your belly. Inhale, exhale long. Where could a spark live this hour? What's the first glide path step you can set in 60 seconds? Name your cadence lock. How long? What sound starts it? Speak your win tag softly. Your body just learned the loop. Identity now, not as a slogan but as hardware. You are not someone who waits for the right mood. You are the awareness that builds engines and removes friction. You are the craftsperson who makes good choices easy and keeps promises in motion with rails, not willpower. When you forget, you audit kindly and start the engine small. The car moves. The day follows. Over weeks, this becomes your signature. Quiet momentum, fewer apologies, more finished lines. One last sensory beat before we close. Listen for the farthest sound and then the nearest. Feel your feet broad and steady. Let your jaw loosen, your shoulders drop, your gaze widen. See tomorrow morning, a launch pad waiting, a spark already chosen, a glide path printed in the pixels, a timer that clicks into your cadence. See yourself tagging the win. That's not fantasy, it's architecture. And architecture changes how it feels to live inside your own life. Confidence deepens when you can lose your footing and find it again without drama. Today is about self-trust, the kind you can feel in your hands when they pick work back up after a miss. You'll build two tools that turn setbacks into fuel instead of verdicts: the evidence bank and the rapid recommit protocol. The evidence bank collects small, real proofs that you keep promises. The protocol slips into instructions within 90 seconds, so your nervous system learns that off-plan is only a bend, not a cliff. With these, you stop bargaining with yourself and start believing yourself, which is what daily confidence is made of. Before we build, step into your body. Feel the weight where your thighs meet the chair, the pressure points near your sit bones. Notice the cool air entering your nostrils, the warmer ribbon leaving. Let your shoulders drop a fraction, as if setting them into deep pockets. Widen your gaze until you can see the edges of the room without moving your head. This is the stance of a person who can make promises and keep them. The evidence bank is simple and ruthless in the best way. It ignores your mood and your marketing. It records behavior. Each deposit is a line, date, tiny promise, whether you kept it, and how it felt for 10 seconds afterward. The account grows on kept, but it also grows on clean recommits. Two non-negotiables, you log daily, and deposits are small enough to complete even on bad weather days. Think of it like a weight room for identity. Reps build muscle. Muscle changes how you move even when you're not thinking about moving. Start a bank right now. On a note or card, write today's date. Beneath it, list two tiny promises for the next 12 hours, one craft, one care. Ship one paragraph of the brief by 3:30. Walk outside for 5 minutes after lunch. Leave a line for kept, and a line for a 10-second feeling tag, clear, lighter, proud, steady. When you finish, you'll write Y and light in chest or Y and jaw soft. If you miss, you'll write RRP and run the rapid recommit protocol. No self-prosecution. We are after data, not drama. That's why the bank works. The reticular activating system learns by repetition plus salience. When you record small promises kept, you tag them as important. Your RAS starts spotting opportunities to keep new promises because it expects the hit of coherence, the pleasant alignment between what you said and what you did. Meanwhile, your amygdala relaxes because the story I follow through matches the evidence on the page. Confidence stops being a pep talk. It becomes prediction. Check your senses. Feel the skin around your eyes and let it soften like you just heard good news you trust. Notice the temperature on the back of your hands. Let your exhale lengthen by a half beat longer than your habit. The body registers kept promises like a warm weight settling into place. Now the Rapid Recommit Protocol, or RRP. It has 4 steps you can run in 90 seconds. Freeze frame, fact, fix, first inch. Freeze frame means you pause the internal movie right where you slipped, late start, snack you didn't plan, message you fired off too hot, and take 1-4-4-6 breath. Fact means you name precisely what happened without adjectives. Scrolled for 12 minutes after 9:00 block started. Fix is the smallest environmental or process change that would have prevented the slip. Phone in other room, tab blocker on. First inch is the next immediate action that restores direction. Start timer, write the first 10 ugly words. You then say a single line aloud, back on track, and move. The whole thing is designed to finish before shame can gather a crowd. Try an RRP drill on a minor wobble from today. Freeze frame now, 1446. Fact, say the line. Fix, name one change. First inch, name it and do it if you can. Tag the moment by whispering, "That's me steering." Notice the tiny lift in your sternum. It's small, but it's real. The brain learns from small and real. A story to show both tools at work. Miguel is a mid-level sales manager working remote. He promised himself a 9,009,40 prospecting block daily. Tuesday, he falls into the inbox whirlpool and surfaces at 9:26 with a twinge of disgust. Old Miguel would call the morning ruined and push prospecting to later, which never comes. New Miguel runs RRP. Freeze frame, breath. Fact, prospecting block started 26 minutes late. Set calendar to focus, no alerts. Move email tab to second desktop. First inch, call the warmest lead and leave a 30-second voicemail. He dials, voicemail lands, heart rate drops. He logs the inch in his evidence bank, 9:28 lighter. After he adds a second tiny call. By 10:00 he has 2 callbacks scheduled. The win wasn't heroism, it was recommit quickly plus proof kept. Noon Miguel believes 4:00 Miguel more. Take a sensory beat. Touch thumb to forefinger and feel the faint pulse. Let your jaw unhook slightly. Hear the farthest sound in the room. Widen your gaze until you can see the whole wall as one shape. This is how you give your nervous system a say in the ritual. Bodies love ritual. Rituals make identity sticky. There's a companion to the evidence bank called the proof stack. Once a week, you read the past 7 days and pick 3 lines that make you proud for specific reasons. You write 1 sentence about what each deposit says about who you are. I wrote a paragraph on a day I felt flat. This says I can move without mood. I asked for clarity with breath. This says I can choose tone under pressure. I went outside for 5 minutes. This says I honor recovery. The proof stack steers your RAs toward identity evidence, not just outcome metrics. Outcomes matter, identity carries them. If your critic mutters that tiny promises are silly, smile and hand it a calculator. Tiny multiplied by daily becomes a new baseline. Neuroplasticity rewards consistency over intensity. You already know that from the last time you tried an all-or-nothing plan and burned out. The bank is the opposite of all or nothing. It's small or something, and something, repeated, becomes everything. Another story, this time from home. Layla wants to be a present parent and protect mornings for writing. Her evidence bank promise is sit at desk at 6:30, write 5 ugly sentences. Thursday at 6:34 her toddler wakes early. She feels the tug to abandon the plan, then she touches the doorframe, sanctuary door, breathes once and runs RRP. Fact, writing window interrupted at sentence 3. Fix, put a basket of independent play toys by the desk. First inch, write 2 more sentences while toddler draws next to me. It's messy but done. She logs it, 6:41 proud. That night she sets the basket. The next morning, 5 sentences come easier. Layla's body learns, I can adapt without erasing myself. Confidence sounds like a pencil scratching while a child hums. Scan your posture. Lift your shoulders a centimeter, then let them fall. Feel your back ribs expand on the inhale, your belly soften on the exhale. Notice the warmth at your throat. If a thought arrives to do more, nod to it and return to this sentence. The bank likes presence, RRP loves speed. Together, they make you trustworthy to yourself. Add a micro tool called the 2-tick promise, a tiny unit you'll lean on when energy is thin. A 2-tick promise is anything you can complete between 2 clock ticks. 1 line written, 1 cupboard cleared, 1 yes-no by noon, message sent, 1 stretch held for a breath. You schedule a 5-minute window daily for 2 ticks, and watch your evidence bank fill with small truths. On days when you feel behind, 2 ticks restore a sense of agency in under 60 seconds. Agency is the feeling of your hand on the rudder. Let's stitch these tools into your existing rituals. Before your first momentum engine block, write 2 evidence bank promises in your ledger margin. After the block, log Y or RRP. If RRP, run it immediately, freeze frame, fact, fix, first inch. At lunch, scan the bank and pick a 2-tick to deposit. Before bed, read the proof stack from the week and whisper 1 identity sentence to yourself. You're not hyping, you're summarizing truths you lived. Here's a higher stakes scene. Zara is a medical resident on a brutal rotation. Sleep is rationed, decisions are constant. She wants to keep her center. Her evidence bank promises are microscopic. 446 twice before first patient, drink full bottle by 11. On a chaotic Thursday, she finds herself snapping at a nurse. Freeze frame, fact, raised voice at 9:12. Fix, install a 20-second walk to the doorway before answering questions. First inch, step back, breath, say, I'm resetting, ask me again. She does it. Later, she writes an RRP line in the bank. 9:13 RRP, jaw softened, said sorry. The day is still hard. Zara has proof she stayed herself in it. Over weeks, those lines become armor she actually wants to wear, light, flexible, earned. Check your senses again. Feel the texture of the fabric at your wrists. Hear the smallest hum. Let your gaze widen. Make the next exhale smooth as silk. Confidence is often just the nervous system believing you when you say, we'll handle this. You'll be tempted to hoard your bank and proof stack in private. Share selectively. Tell one trusted person a single line each week. I kept 2 tiny promises on a rough day. Social proof isn't about applause, it's about anchoring identity in community. When someone reflects, that's so you, your RAS highlights that trait in neon. The next time you wobble, the neon helps you find the rail. A quiet trap to avoid, turning the evidence bank into a scoreboard to beat yourself with. If you miss a day, your only job is to make the next deposit small and now. Write RRP and move. Shame is noise. Recommitment is signal. The bank was built to withstand weather. Blend in a supportive practice called the Future Self Handshake. Before you start a block, place your palm lightly on your chest and say, I've got you for the next X minutes. After, place your palm there again and say, thank you, deposit made. It sounds corny until you notice your shoulders drop and your breath deepen. Your body believes voices paired with touch. You're teaching it that you are a reliable teammate to yourself. One more story at the edge of ambition. Theo is pitching investors next month. He's been avoiding the rehearsal because it stirs old stage fright. His evidence bank promise is 10-minute rehearse at 8:10. Monday he dodges it, rearranging icons like it's work. At 8:29 he catches himself. Freeze frame, fact, avoided rehearse window. Fix, put rehearsal deck on desktop, set 8:07 alarm labeled breath first. First inch, set timer for 3 minutes, say opening aloud. He hits record, stumbles, laughs, keeps going. Bank entry, 8:34 chest warmer. On Friday he watches the week's proof stack and writes, I rehearse even when nervous, my future self is grateful. On demo day his breath knows the opening like a song. The pitch lands. But more than that, Theo can feel the floor of the room under his feet because he poured it himself, 1 deposit at a time. Let your body memorize that floor. Feel the spread of your toes inside your shoes or on the ground. Sense the gentle curve where your ribs meet your belly. Loosen your jaw. Breathe out longer than your inhale. Whisper, I do what I say, or I recommit within 90 seconds. That sentence is your new weather report. To install all this, run a 3-minute nightly close called Bank and Bridge. Minute 1, write 2 tiny promises for tomorrow, craft and care. Minute 2, scan for likely friction and write 1 fix for each. Minute 3, write the boundary bridge you'll need to protect the promises. Name, I'm protecting design quality from 9940. No clean. Next, alternative that keeps respect intact. Put the card where your eyes will land. Tomorrow morning, your RAS will feel like it's cheating in your favor. Identity, explicit and kind, you are not a fluke of willpower, you are a builder of evidence. You are the one who freezes frames, states facts, installs fixes, and takes first inches. You are the person your future self trusts because you have a ledger that proves it. When you miss, and you will, you recommit quickly. Beginning again is your superpower. That is not spin, it is practice. Seal this session with a sensory beat. Feel the outline of your lips, the tiny cool at the tip of your nose. Hear the farthest sound and then the nearest. Let your gaze soften until it takes in ceiling and floor at once. Picture today's two tiny promises written in your evidence bank. See your hand making the first deposit within the hour. Feel the slight warmth in your chest as you whisper your proof stacked line for the week. There, the bridge between intent and identity just got shorter. Confidence has a body. When your body is resourced, your mind steers smoothly. When it's depleted, even good tools feel heavy. Today you'll wire two systems that treat energy as a skill, not a mystery. The charge-discharge cycle and the stress inoculation rehearsal. The first teaches you how to build and spend energy on purpose across a day so you stop oscillating between jitter and crash. The second trains your nervous system to meet predictable stress with practiced calm, like a firefighter running drills, so the body remembers even when the mind wobbles. Together, they give you steady power under pressure without caffeine whiplash or white-knuckle grit. Start with charge-discharge. Think of your energy like a rechargeable battery with three circuits: oxygen, glucose, and light. Oxygen you already know: breath quality, posture, and code 2 tolerance. Glucose is not sugar highs, it's stable fuel arriving through timing and composition. Light means circadian signals that tell your brain when to be alert and when to wind down. Charge means you deliberately top these circuits. Discharge means you spend the charge on purpose through focused work and clean movement. The protocol: prime, pack, pace, and park. You prime within 30 minutes of waking. Light to the eyes, outdoors or bright window, water, and 2 rounds of 4-4-6 to stretch the exhale. You pack fuel with a protein-forward first meal and a plan for a mid-block top-off if your work is deep. You pace your day so the hardest cognitive block lives within the first 3 hours post-prime, when cortisol is naturally higher and alertness is clean. You park by building a down ramp. Last light on the eyes well before bed, screens dimmed, 2 4-4-6 cycles, and a light down tally like you learned earlier. This is not perfection, it's scaffolding. If you miss a step, the scaffold still holds. Try a micro install now. Imagine tomorrow morning. Before you reach for your phone, stand near a window, let daylight hit your eyes for 2 minutes. Drink a glass of water. Place your palm on your sternum and do 2 slow 4-4-6 rounds. Whisper a standard and tone for your first block. Then eat in a way that keeps your engine even: more protein than you think you need, less sugar than your stress demands. Schedule your hardest inch within the first 120 minutes. That's charge. When the block ends, you discharge deliberately by stepping into daylight again for 60 seconds and letting your gaze widen. Repeat. Your body starts to predict safety and service. Energy becomes a rhythm you can play, not a tide you beg. Drop into your senses for a moment. Feel the weight of your tongue resting softly on the ridge behind your upper teeth. Notice the cool at the tip of your nose on the inhale, the warmer ribbon on the exhale. Let your shoulders sink as if they're finding deep pockets. Hear the farthest sound in your space, then listen for the smallest sound near you. That widening field tells your midbrain you're not cornered. The charge lands better from here. People often blow their charge by letting small spikes drain the battery all day. Enter the discharge micro tool called the 60-second vent. Not venting emotions onto people, venting arousal out of the body. When you feel the pressure climb, walk to a door frame, place your palms at shoulder height, and lean in slightly as you breathe 1-4-4-6. The gentle pec stretch and the pressure on your palms send a message through mechanoreceptors. Safe, grounded, open. Whisper your name line, tight chest, urgency, and then your angle What's the next visible inch? You vent sympathetic heat without spraying it across your calendar. 1 minute, big returns. Story time. Serena, a senior marketer, kept crashing at 3 p.m., then cramming work into 10 p.m. She installed the charge-discharge cycle for a week. Prime, light water, 2 breaths, protein, pack. She prepped a 2 p.m. snack with protein and fiber. Pace, 2 40-minute deep work blocks before noon. Park, 9:15 p.m. light down tally and a book on the pillow. She added the 60-second vent at 12:40 when Slack usually spiked. By Friday, the 3 p.m. crash softened into a 10-minute walk and a return to an email batch. No miracles, just steady. Her confidence wasn't a speech. It was a body that didn't betray her when the day got loud. Check your body again. Feel your back ribs expand on your next inhale. On the exhale, let your jaw unhook a millimeter. Rest your gaze on a neutral object and soften your focus until it takes up a third of your visual field. That softness protects working memory like cupping a match in the wind. Now to Stress Inoculation Rehearsal, or SIR, 3 letters that will change how your body meets heat. You know certain stressors are coming. The Monday stand-up with the VP, the tough conversation with your partner, the quarterly review. SIR turns dread into training. The protocol has 4 moves: preview, preload, press, and protect. Preview means you run a 60-second mental film of the moment, where you'll stand, what you'll see, where your hands will be. Preload means you choose your tools ahead of time. Door cue, 1446, your first sentence from compression to clarity, your 2-breath ask. Press means you add a controlled stressor during rehearsal. Elevate your heart rate with 20 seconds of brisk steps or cold water on your wrists, then deliver your sentence while breathing slow. Protect means you define your after, 1 minute outside, a glass of water, 1 evidence bank deposit. You run SIR 3 times in the 2 days before the event. Your amygdala learns, we've been here. Your prefrontal cortex says, I know this dance. On game day, your body recognizes the floor. Run a tiny SIR now for a low-stakes moment. Preview, imagine tomorrow's first meeting, see the room, the faces, the cursor blinking. Preload, door keyboard corner, 1446, first sentence. The point is we're green on features and tight on QA. I'm asking for 1 tester for 48 hours. Press, do 10 brisk chair squats or shake your hands for 20 seconds, then speak the sentence on a long exhale. Protect, picture yourself stepping to the window afterward, tagging the win, that's me steering. Feel the warmth in your chest. That warmth is not ego, it's circuitry aligning. Anecdote with teeth. Nav, a founder, had a board meeting that historically sent him into fight or fawn. He built SIR for 2 points, opening and pushback. Preview, he stood in his office, looked at the corner where the plant met the window, his visual anchor, and imagined the boardroom. Preload, door watch crown, 2446 breaths, opening line. We hit 92% of plan. Here, S where we're under and what I'm changing. 2-breath ask ready. To de-risk Q2, will you back a contractor budget of X by Friday? Press. He ran up 1 flight of stairs, returned with his heart rate up, and delivered the opening calm. Protect. After each rehearsal, he walked once around the block, tagging rehearsed under load. On the day when a board member pressed hard, Nav felt the familiar heat but also a practiced spaciousness. He touched his watch crown, exhaled his line, and held quiet after his ask. Budget approved. More important, the old story, board equals danger, lost its teeth. SIR made a room safe by making it familiar. Sensory beat. Feel the fabric on your shoulders. Notice the contour where your ribs meet your abdomen. Let the exhale travel down your spine like a slow bead. Hear the small sound of the room breathing, HVAC, bird, traffic. This is where rehearsal roots, in the real sensations of the body you carry into the room. You'll amplify SIR by bundling it with a tool called the 2-point lock, posture and pace. Posture means you choose 1 body cue to hold under pressure, long spine, soft jaw, wide gaze. Pace means you deliver your first sentence slower than your habit, counting a silent 1 and 2 and between clauses. Posture keeps your vagus engaged. Pace gives listeners time to follow and gives you time to think. Repeat posture and pace in rehearsal, and your body treats them as home base. Some worry that rehearsal will make them stiff. The opposite. When the body has a home base, the mind gets freer. Actors rehearse beats so they can improvise inside them. You're doing the same, designing rails so creativity doesn't fall off the bridge. Charge-discharge meets SIR in a miniature ritual called Heat Then Hush. 5 minutes before a big moment, you give the system a quick controlled spike, 20 seconds of brisk steps, 10 wall push-ups, or cold water on your wrists heat. Then you hush with 1-4-4-6 breath, wide gaze, posture and pace, and your first sentence. The spike tells your midbrain, this arousal is familiar. The hush says, and it's ours. That pairing anchors confidence as a bodily truth, not a concept. Another story at home. Dev and Priya from earlier plan to tell their parents they're moving cities. Historically, family conversations swirl. They do a gentle sir. Preview, the living room, tea on the table, father's eyebrows lifting. Preload, door mug handle, breath opening sentence. We love being close. We're moving for work and we want to plan visits now. 2 breath ask ready. Could we look at 2 weekends that work for you before summer? Press, they take a brisk walk around the block, then practice the lines while breathing slow. Protect. Afterward, they put phones away and sit on the balcony for 5 minutes to let the nervous system stamp the practice as good. On the day, there's surprise and some pushback. They hold posture and pace, repeat their ask, and by the end there's a shared calendar open. They didn't win a debate. They held a nervous system steady enough to love and lead. Check your body again. Place your tongue softly against the roof of your mouth. Let your shoulders lift a centimeter and drop. Feel the temperature on your forearms. Widen your gaze until you can see the corners of the room. Calm isn't limp. It's length in the spine and warmth in the eyes. Make charge-discharge automatic. Install the 4-touch day, 4 guaranteed sensory touches that bracket your energy. Touch 1 on waking, light, water, 2 breaths. Touch 2 before first deep work, 1 minute of distance, gaze out a window. Touch 3 early afternoon, a walk to daylight and a 60-second vent at a door frame. Touch 4 in the evening, light down tally plus 2-4-4-6 breaths. You can miss a workout, don't miss the touches. Touches signal safety. Safety fuels cognition. What about coffee? Use it as a scalpel, not a hose. 1 cup 60-90 minutes after waking, not immediately, and none within 8 hours of bed. Pair coffee with a protein bite to avoid a roller coaster. Treat it as part of charge, not the whole battery. Your future self will send you a thank you note in the shape of better sleep. A quick drill to close energy leaks. The microlatch. Anytime you finish a block, spend 30 seconds to close tabs, set the next spark on your launch pad, and place 1 object, mug, book at the edge of your desk as a physical in-session signal for the next block. That latch prevents energy from dribbling out of the next hour. 30 seconds, 10 times a day, equals 5 reclaimed minutes of clean mental air. You'll hit days when the charge feels thin and SIR feels like too much. Scale down with the bare minimum protocol, 1 touch plus 1 inch. 1 touch from the 4, say light and water. 1 inch from your momentum engine, 10 ugly words or 1 email subject line. That's enough to keep your identity laminated. Even on thin days, I touch and inch. Tomorrow thanks you. Sensory seal. Feel your feet, spread the toes inside your shoes or on the ground. Sense the back of your neck. Imagine a warm hand there steadying. Inhale, let the bottom ribs widen. Exhale until your shoulders drop. Notice the near sound, the far sound. Practice calling your energy back with a soft sentence. Here, now, this inch. Before we close, stitch today into everything you've built. In the morning, sanctuary first, door, breath, name, see. Then charge, light, water, breath, protein. Ledger to budget your attention. Momentum engine to start and keep moving. Boundary bridge to protect blocks. Window widen and the alchemy ladder when weather rolls in. Compression to clarity and 2 breath, ask to move rooms with 1 sentence. Evidence, bank and rapid, recommit to believe yourself. And now charge, discharge to power the machine, SIR to meet heat practice ready. This is not a pile of tricks. It's an operating system. You don't need every app open every day. You need to trust you'll reach for the right one at the right time, and you can because you've rehearsed. Identity turn, simple and physical. You are not a candle that burns bright then gutters. You are a lamp with a dimmer you control. You are the awareness that charges and discharges on purpose, that rehearses heat so calm shows up on cue. You are a body-wise operator whose mind rides a steady animal kindly, not a mind dragging a body like a sled. When you forget, you touch a door frame, breathe, and begin again. Beginning again keeps the light on. One last sensory beat to set tomorrow. Imagine morning light on your face. Feel the cool of water on your tongue. Hear the quiet of a room before the world speaks. See your hand touching the keyboard corner, door, then the slow exhale breath, then the first sentence leaving your mouth, steady and warm. Picture the evening, a soft lamp, a closing breath, a small pride that isn't loud. That pride is your life fitting you better because you shaped it. Confidence becomes unbreakable when your life points in one direction. You've practiced calm under pressure, clean language, steady momentum, and evidence you can trust. Now you'll align those daily moves with a longer arc so your choices stop competing and start compounding. Today you'll build two frameworks that turn values into visible days: the integrity compass and the calendar constellation. The compass gives you 4 coordinates to steer any decision in under a minute. The constellation turns those coordinates into recurring anchors on your actual calendar, so who you want to be shows up as time, not just talk. With these, you stop living from crisis to crisis and start living from coherence, quiet, sturdy, repeatable. Hold your body as you read. Feel the chair take your weight. Let your lower belly soften a notch. Inhale through the nose, notice the cool touch. Exhale slower than habit, feel warmth leaving. Let your gaze widen until you can see the edges of the room without moving your head. That wideness is the sky your compass needs. The integrity compass has 4 points you'll memorize like your home address: truth, responsibility, care, and future. Truth asks, what's real right now? Responsibility asks, what's mine to move? Care asks, how do I move it without harming what matters? Future asks, how will this choice look to me in 6 months? You can run the compass in 30 seconds on a sticky note or in your head. The power isn't the words, it's the order. Truth calms the amygdala because it replaces guesses with data. Responsibility re-engages the prefrontal cortex by naming the lever you can pull. Care overlays tone and protects relationships and health. Future turns on the dorsolateral circuits that weigh long-term outcomes and keeps you from selling tomorrow for relief today. Try it with something alive. Think of a decision that's humming in your chest, a project to accept, a conversation to start, a habit to drop. Whisper your answers: truth, 1 sentence of facts; responsibility, 1 lever within your reach; care, the manner that would make you proud; future, the version of you 6 months ahead, nodding or wincing. Notice the temperature change behind your sternum when you say the future line out loud. That warmth is alignment arriving. Drop into your senses for a beat. Feel the contact of your feet on the floor. Spread your toes inside your shoes. Hear the farthest sound in the room, then the nearest micro sound: fabric, a vent, your own breath. Let your shoulders slide down as if into deep pockets. Your body believes alignment more than arguments. A story brings the compass to life. Freya is offered a promotion that doubles pay and halves her attention for her son during the week. The old Freya would say yes on autopilot and crumble later. She runs the compass at her kitchen counter, fingers on the cool ceramic door. Truth, it's 2 teams, heavy travel and influence I want. Responsibility, ask for a local first variant and name the 2 metrics I'll own. Care, speak with warmth and respect, no defensiveness. Future, 6 months from now, I want to be present at bedtime 4 nights a week and proud of my team's output. She takes 1446. Next day she uses compression to clarity. The point is I'm excited to lead. I'm asking for a version that caps travel at 2 days a month and ties my bonus to team retention and delivery. 2 weeks later, they create the role she asked for. Even if they hadn't, she would have honored future her. That's confidence that doesn't waver with applause. Now the calendar constellation. Your calendar is a telescope. What's on it is what exists. The constellation draws 3 stars you can see each week: keystone blocks, ritual rings, and repair windows. Keystone blocks are 2 repeating appointments that express your top 2 values through action, craft and care, or family and health, or learning and leadership. Ritual rings are 5-minute touchpoints that keep core practices alive: sanctuary cycles before calls, evidence bank at night, momentum engine launch pad. Repair windows are small, scheduled periods where you clean up what's slipped: rapid recommit on paper, boundary bridges you'll send, conversations you'll close. Constellations repeat. Repetition teaches your reticular activating system that these stars are north. Sketch yours now. Pick 2 keystones for the next 7 days. Name them plainly. Design deep block, Q/39 00945, strength plus walk, mon/wed/fry 5 15 545. Add 3 ritual rings. Door breath name see before first call. Evidence bank 3 minutes at 9:30 p.m. Launchpad 60 seconds at day's end. Finally, choose 1 repair window. Friday 3:30 RRP plus 2 honest emails. Speak them softly, put them on the calendar, not someday, today. These are not aspirational, they're structural. Check the body again. Place tongue lightly on the roof of your mouth to release your jaw. Feel the back ribs expand on inhale. Exhale until your shoulders drop a few millimeters. Rest your eyes on a neutral object and soften focus. You're laying track even as you breathe. You'll meet friction when constellations hit real life. So pair them with a micro tool, the no-explain boundary. Many boundaries collapse under 1,000 words. The no-explain boundary is a single clear line plus 1 sentence of care without a courtroom of reasons. I won't be available after 6. I'm protecting family time. I'm not taking new meetings this week. I'm protecting a build block. If pushed, you repeat the line once and offer a calendar bridge. Next Thursday at 10, I can give this full attention. Your tone, warm, steady, does the heavy lifting. Your nervous system learns that you can choose without justifying your right to choose. Here's a scene where constellation and no-explain change a life. Omar runs a boutique agency. His keystone is strategy block, Moanwed 8:39:30. A client keeps requesting quick syncs in that hour. Old Omar said yes and bled excellence. New Omar, hand on desk edge door, breathes and delivers a crisp line. I'm not available at 8:30. I'm protecting a strategy block that keeps our work sharp. I can meet at 10:10 or send a 2-line decision by 9:50. What's better? The client learns the new map. 2 months later, the work is better. The business is calmer. The same client recommends Omar because they're focused. Boundaries, it turns out, market you. Pause for a sensory beat. Feel the cool air at the tip of your nose, the warm ribbon leaving on the exhale. Notice your hands, the weight, the temperature on the backs. Hear the smallest room sound. Widen your gaze. The nervous system stamps these moments as safe. Safety keeps constellations alive. Under the hood, the compass and constellation do simple neuroscience. The compass reduces ambiguity, catnip for the amygdala, by replacing vague dread with 4 short questions. The constellation reduces context switching and decision fatigue by externalizing values as time slots. Your prefrontal cortex stays online longer. Your RAS starts pre-finding the handles you've declared matter. Over weeks, your default day becomes a vote for who you are, not who the loudest person wants you to be. Add a drill called the Sunday North. 15 minutes, tea in hand. Write 3 lines. This week, truth means, responsibility means, care means, future means, then drop the 2 keystone blocks, 3 ritual rings, and 1 repair window onto the calendar. Speak your tone for the week: calm, invitational, or crisp kind. Your week will still weather, but the ship points where you chose. You'll sometimes find a value conflict: craft vs. rest, generosity versus focus. Use the 2-point arbitration: standards and seasons. Standards are the minimums that keep identity intact. Seasons are the time-limited adjustments you name on purpose. For instance, standard, 2 keystone blocks regardless. Season, 3 weeks of lighter workouts while I ship V2. The sentence you speak matters. When you call it a season, your midbrain relaxes. When you set standards, your future self feels protected. A relationship vignette shows arbitration in the wild. Yi and Rowan are new parents and both founders. Sleep is thin. Yi's standards used to be 2 hours of deep work daily. Now the season requires creativity. They stand at the sink at 6:40 a.m., touch the counter-edge door, breathe once and say, standard, 1 40-minute keystone each, non-negotiable. Season, alternate early walks for 2 weeks to keep sanity. They put it on the calendar. When guilt arrives, they repeat, this is a season. The nervous system hears boundary plus compassion. The family runs smoother. Reset your senses. Lift your shoulders 1 centimeter, then let them drop. Feel the weight of your clothing on your collarbones. Let your exhale lengthen by a half beat. Your body stores these moments like breadcrumbs back to yourself. There's a shadow at the edge of alignment: over-optimization. When you try to calendar every breath, you suffocate the part of you that improvises. Protect wonder with a practice called open space. Schedule 1 unstructured hour per week labeled Wander and Wonder. No device if possible. Walk, read, draw, stare at trees, noodle on a melody. This hour is not a luxury. It's oxygen for the creative circuits that make everything else worth doing. Your compass point care includes care for mystery. Another story, this time at higher stakes. Neela leads engineering in a company preparing for acquisition. The weeks are sharp. Her compass in the notebook reads truth, Q3 reliability at 99.3%, burn high, responsibility, stability checklist plus team rest protocol, care, honor sleep, kindness in code reviews, future, choose moves I'd defend post-close. Her constellation, Keystone Stability 9, 00940, Keystone One-on-Ones Wed 2, 00300, Ritual Rings, Sanctuary Before Stand-Ups, Evidence Bank 9:40 p.m., Repair Window Fry 3:20, Apology or Thanks. A late-night fire erupts. She holds the 2-point lock posture, long spine, pace slower than habit, uses compression to clarity, and after the fix she runs a repair window. I spoke sharply, here's the point I meant, thanks for staying. Months later, she's proud of the code and her conduct. That pride is not vanity, it's integrated living. If your history includes broken promises to yourself, alignment may sting at first. Use the mismatch repair. When your calendar shows a keystone and you skipped it, you write 2 sentences. Truth, I skipped my block. Respectful reason or no. If yes, kid sick, you move the block and tag season. If no, you run RRP, then shrink the block for tomorrow to half size and protect it with a no explain boundary. You're not punishing, you're restoring the bridge weight by weight. Sensory beat once more. Touch thumb to middle finger and feel the faint pulse. Feel the curve where ribs meet belly. Hear the far sound, then the near. Let your eyes soften. The brain learns best when the body is unthreatened. Let's build a 1-minute ritual that fuses everything, compass to constellation. Before any significant yes or no, breathe 4-4-6. Whisper your 4 compass lines. If the answer is yes, you schedule the first keystone inch within 7 days. If it's no, you send a boundary bridge within 30 minutes. Either way, you make an evidence bank deposit. Aligned choice. Aligned choices, recorded, change self-story faster than any affirmation. There's joy here too. Alignment often feels like relief more than triumph. You eat the meal that loves you back. You leave the office on time because your future line said you'd rather read to your kid than read another Slack thread. You take a walk at dusk and notice the exact blue of the sky. The nervous system stores these images as proof that a values-led life feels better in the body. One more anecdote, quiet and domestic. Aya plays cello on Sundays but has been skipping for months. Her compass in bed on Saturday night. Truth, I miss it. Responsibility, put the stand by the window and tune tonight. Care, play for 30 minutes, stop before fatigue. Future, in 6 months I want calluses back and a lighter heart. She sets a keystone, Sun 400440 cello. Sunday, she touches the stand door, breathes and plays scales slowly. The room fills with sound that reminds her who she is beneath rolls. She logs the deposit. Why? Warm chest. That warmth bleeds into Monday's tone in ways no hack could fake. Return to your body for the seal. Feel the outline of your lips. Notice the cool of air there. Let your jaw soften. Sense your feet broad and steady. Widen your gaze until you can hold ceiling and floor in one look. Whisper your 4 points: truth, responsibility, care, future. Then speak one constellation star you'll place today. Nod to it. Your nod is a contract. Identity made explicit. You are not a calendar owned by other people's urgency. You are a compass carrier who turns values into time. You are the awareness that tells the truth, takes responsibility, moves with care, and serves your future self. Your days are constellations you draw on purpose so you can steer by them when weather moves in. When you forget, you don't spiral. You step into sanctuary, breathe, run the compass, and adjust the constellation. Beginning again is your north. One last sensory beat before we close. Hear the far sound and the near. Feel the back ribs widen, then soften. Notice the slight warmth behind your breastbone as you picture one aligned hour this week, already on the calendar. See your hand protecting it with a simple, kind sentence. Feel how your shoulders drop when you imagine honoring it. That drop is the weight you've been carrying sliding off because the path ahead is drawn. You've built calm that holds under heat, language that moves rooms, momentum that carries you on quiet days, and a calendar that points one way. Now comes the part that turns a season of change into a life, integration. Today you'll anchor everything you've practiced to a future you can feel, and you'll craft a ritual you can repeat whenever the world tilts. 2 frameworks guide you: the legacy loop and the closing the circle ceremony. The legacy loop keeps you in conversation with your future self so daily inches compound into a line you're proud of. Closing the circle converts endings of days, weeks, projects, relationships into clean energy instead of exhaust. You'll leave with a map and a rhythm, not a pep talk. Confident people don't just act calm, they maintain their operating system with small, exact moves. Start with the legacy loop. It has 4 beats: imagine, instruct, implement, inherit. Imagine means you step into a vivid, believable future 12 months from now and feel what life is like when these tools live in your hands without effort. Instruct means your future self writes 3 simple instructions backwards to you today. Implement means you execute the smallest of those instructions within an hour. Inherit means that at week's end, you collect the evidence of kept promises and let next week you inherit the momentum in one sentence. That sentence is not poetry, it's a relay handoff. The loop repeats weekly. You keep the you of next year at the table, so today's you doesn't sell the house for a night in a fancy hotel. Close your eyes and imagine. 12 months from now, picture a morning, light on the floor, your phone is still face down. You touch a doorframe and a breath arrives on its own. Your ledger is a single page with 2 priorities circled, not a scream of boxes. Your anchor and angle is instinct. Your emails are shorter, kinder, clearer. Your evidence bank is a slim notebook with bent corners, the way loved tools look. You head into a messy day with a body that doesn't flinch at every ping. What's new is not perfection, it's steadiness. Feel the weight of that steadiness in your chest like a warm cup settled in your hands. Now instruct. From that future morning, write yourself 3 one-line instructions. Keep them plain, Protect two 40-minute keystones even when people push. Run the split signal here, story there before replying to heat. Close each day with a light-down tally and an evidence deposit. Pick the lightest one and implement it in the next 60 minutes. Set one calendar block. Write one boundary line. Put a card on your pillow that says tally. Then inherit at week's end. Sit with your evidence bank. Pick 3 lines you're proud of and write a single sentence to next week you. We steer when busy. Protect the 9 a.m. block and ask in one sentence. Leave that sentence where Monday eyes fall. The loop is small by design. Small survives. Feel your body now. Notice the cool air at the tip of your nose as you inhale and the warm ribbon as you exhale. Let your shoulders slide down as if finding deep pockets at your sides. Rest your gaze on a neutral object and let the focus soften until your peripheral vision opens like a window. That wideness is where future you speaks clearly. A story to show the loop calling a person forward. Mara, the same Mara who once drowned in dishes and unsaid needs, sits on a Sunday afternoon with a pen she likes. Imagine 12 months with a steadier voice and evenings that end before midnight. Instruct, ask in one sentence, anchor before boundary, calendar constellations before promises. Implement, she sends one crisp 2-breath ask to her manager to protect a morning build block. Inherit, she writes, we are doing this calmly, Monday 9 a.m. is ours. Thursday brings a spike, she forgets, snaps, regrets, RRP catches her. Friday she reads her proof stack, touches the doorframe and writes to next week Mara, we repair quickly, sanctuary at the sink before we speak. The loop is not dramatic, it is dependable. By spring, her old edge, sarcasm, is out of work. The second framework, closing the circle, is how you end things without dragging them into tomorrow like tin cans tied to a bumper. The ceremony is 5 moves: name, note, narrow, nudge, and nest. Name the thing you're ending, a day, a sprint, a season. Note what moved by writing 3 short lines: 1 inch you advanced, 1 tool you used, 1 repair you made. Narrow what's open by choosing the single next inch that will make tomorrow's start honest. Nudge it into place with a launch pad, open the dock, write the first 10 ugly words, stage the shoes, set the calendar invite. Nest yourself for rest with a 2-breath downshift and 1 sentence of self-regard. I steered today. This ceremony takes 3 minutes. 3 minutes at the end of 10 days is a half hour that will change your month. Try a micro-ceremony now. Name, this chapter of listening is closing, the next one begins with doing. Note, whisper, I learned pause before reply, I used window widen, I repaired a sharp word. Narrow, what 1 inch tomorrow would prevent drift, send the 1-sentence update by 9:20. Nudge, open the app, type the subject line, place a sticky on your keyboard. Nest, inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6 twice. Hand on your chest, say, good work, more tomorrow. Notice the temperature just behind your sternum warm by a ½ degree. That warmth is your body believing the words. Your mind may crave a complex finale. Complexity is how we avoid intimacy with our own power. Keep your ceremony simple. Simplicity repeats. Repetition writes identity. Identity reduces the need for effort because, under pressure, your hands find the old moves without asking your mind's permission. Drop into your senses again. Feel the outline of your lips. Let your jaw unhook a millimeter. Hear the farthest sound: traffic, a bird, a vent, then the nearest, the brush of fabric, your own breath. Let your exhale arrive like a long ribbon laid on a table. Calm isn't a mood now, it's a posture your bones recognize. An ending deserves a story that honors mess and grace. Devon blew it. He missed a critical deadline after 3 on-time sprints. The email from the client was curt and correct. Old Devon would have gone silent, then worked through the night and called it integrity. Legacy loop: Devon ran RRP within 2 minutes. Freeze frame, fact, missed delivery by 24 hours. Fix, add a calendar constellation, Friday repair window, and a 10-word tunnel for status emails. First inch, send a 1-sentence acknowledgement. He typed, I missed yesterday's delivery. You'll have the file by 3 p.m. I'm optimizing so it doesn't repeat. Then he closed the circle at 3:02, name, sprint, note, inch, tool, repair, narrow, next inch, checklist, nudge, template in place, nest, 2 breaths. We learned. A month later, the client extended the contract. More important, Devon's nervous system learned that failure is a bend, not a cliff, when the loop and the ceremony hold. There's a tender edge to integration, grief for the years you didn't have these rails. Let it pass through with the 90-second weather rule. Feel the ache, name it kindly, sadness for the time I hustled without help, and then place it on a shelf. Gratitude can sit on the same shelf without canceling the ache. Gratitude for the next year you're giving yourself. One more sensory beat. Place one hand on your chest and one on your belly. Inhale so the bottom hand rises a little. Exhale so both hands soften. Widen your gaze until you can see ceiling and floor in one soft look. This is how you memorize the door to calm, with hands and breath and eyes. It's time to stitch the whole operating system into one last sequence you can run anywhere. Door, breath, name, see, compass, truth, responsibility, care, future. Choose a keystone inch and place it on the calendar. Run the calm advantage loop once. Pause, name, point, act. If a snag hits, window widen, climb the ladder, ask in one sentence. Return to your engine's cadence, log a deposit, recommit within 90 seconds if you slip, charge and discharge on purpose, rehearse heat before it arrives, end with the ceremony. You will not use every piece daily. You will use some piece hourly. You'll stop performing confidence and start living from a practiced nervous system that meets the day with quiet, repeatable skill. A last story, because stories are how our nervous systems learn what's possible. Elena runs community programs at a city nonprofit. Budgets are thin, needs are not. Her calendar used to be holes she fell through. A year with these tools and her days click. Monday, sanctuary before stand-up, compression to clarity in the first 2 minutes, boundary bridge protecting a block that writes grants people can feel. Wednesday, a 60-second vent at the doorframe between a tough home visit and a donor call, 2-breath ask that secures a pilot program. Friday, closing the circle with her team, each person noting 1 inch, 1 tool, 1 repair, they leave lighter. One evening she walks home under bruised purple sky. She touches a signpost, unthinking door. Breath arrives. She smiles because she didn't try to be calm. Calm found her because the rails are in. A kid on a bike wobbles near the curb. She steps aside, steady. That's the feeling to carry, a steady body in a loud world. Check your senses one more time. Feel the texture of the fabric on your shoulders. Notice the tiny cool at the tip of your nose. Hear the room breathe. Sense the weight of your feet and the way the floor keeps its promise to hold you. In that reality, say one sentence to yourself you can believe. I return to calm and choose 1 wise inch. That sentence is not a wish. It is a description of what you've practiced. At the edge of any skill, humility is the friend that keeps growth alive. You will forget. For a day, a week, on a flight, in a fight, the doorframe will save you, the breath will be there, the loop will be there. You can step back in without apology. Beginning again is not punishment. It is the privilege of being alive and plastic and honest. The systems you built are not fragile. They bend, they wait, they welcome you back with tools in their hands. Identity clear as day. You are not someone who occasionally keeps it together when life cooperates. You are the awareness that builds rooms and rails, that moves from signal to story to choice, that speaks on an exhale and protects what matters without turning cold, that budgets attention and pays people in clarity, that widens windows and climbs ladders, that rehearses heat until steady arrives on cue, that makes evidence of integrity daily and repairs quickly when you miss. You are the craftsperson of your nervous system. The calm advantage is no longer a trick you perform. It's the operating system you live inside. The world will still be loud. You will still be human. Your hands will still know what to do. One final sensory seal. Feel the outline of your lips. Let your jaw unhook by a breath. Widen your gaze until you can see the edges of the room and the space between. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 6. Whisper your legacy loop line to next week you. Whisper your closing the circle line to tonight you. Then nod. The nod is the ceremony, a small bow from who you were to who you've become, and from who you are to who you will be.